hopefully this is just a nice. Okay, I already see my audio waves moving, so that's a great start. Oh wait, we should be here, and we should have the starting soon thing. Okay, and now also let me pull up this thing. You know what I like about the NBA ban? They told you exactly why they banned him. There are other corporations and other entities, like especially in the esports world. Sometimes some of these, like I guess the devs, the people that actually run the game, they'll ban players, and they won't really specify what exactly they did. So it's like you just get banned anytime.
Yeah.
Like
Although
this
esports, I
thing.
feel like 90% of the time it's some damn sexual assault allegations or some crazy shit. But
I think
transparency is always
no,
good.
it's typical because of cheating, right? Surely
Say it again.
it's typical because of cheating or modding or something.
Um,
Surely.
well, I'm thinking of like the fighting game scene, but if you're
Uh,
talking like the different esports, like the
yeah, I was thinking
League of
more so.
Legends stuff
Yeah, I was
like
thinking
that,
more like
yeah, that's
League,
cheating.
CS:GO, COD.
Yeah. That'd be more cheating. God.
Jesus. Hold on, I'm just looking for. Okay, let me do this. Grab the link.
All right, Joe.
Let me refresh this. Let me grab this link. Wait, no! Undo. Sorry. Paste that.
Man, this Discord bot is nice.
What'd you say?
Remember that Discord bot that I was working on?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just looking at the code I did.
Okay. Engineer. Okay, we're good. So let me take down this. Oh, before we start, audio. Ace, how's your audio sound?
Check. How do I sound? Do I sound okay? My volume okay?
We sound pretty good.
Check.
The volume is a little low, but maybe it's just because we're not talking about intense topics yet. Anyway, what about you, Ghost? Everything sound crystal clear?
Test.
Yep, that sounds good too. And then what about me? Is the audio clear and is the volume at a good level where everyone will be able to hear us and understand us?
Sounds like it.
Acceptable.
Fair enough. Good, not bad. Okay, so with that, let's go. Where's my phone? Okay, good. With that, I will go here, I believe. Yes, still good. And then, if we're ready, we'll hit the record button. Okay. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, everyone, to the B1 and B Phil podcast. We're back. We're back, and we got not everyone here, but we got the bros, the family, the crew. We got Ace.
Sup?
We got Ghost.
Yo.
And we got myself, Quest, Lando. Guys, how we all doing? How we all feeling?
Pretty good.
Decent.
And I'm doing not bad myself. It definitely feels like I've gotten some weights off my shoulder throughout the past week. At time recording, mid April. I think it's officially that time where we can all say, or some of us are still saying like the Drake line. I ain't done my taxes yet. I'm two turns up. Or if that's really true for you, then you might be in trouble. But no, it's starting to get. Well, I feel as if I said it every week, so let me not say. The weather's not bad except when it rains, and yeah, I don't think there's really too much complaints going on. But there's always a lot going on in the world. But before we get into everything that's going on and all the topics, some podcast intro stuff. So if you're ever on the look or search for new music, new artists, look no further than us. We do a music selection of the week, which you can find in the description below, which I might actually not have updated yet. You'll be able to find the description below, if not now, after. So if you're looking for new music, we have a Spotify playlist of new records. And after the podcast, we do all the editing. You also be able to just find a list of all the songs and artists. In the description below, you can also find the timestamps if you're a person that just likes to go around in a video to find some of the relevant or interesting parts that would be interesting to you. We have the timestamps listed out. And if you're even a person that just prefers to watch shorter version of content, come back to the channel. I would implore everyone to check out our videos in the video tab of the channel. We can find shorter versions of our content, just all the topic videos if you want to get straight to the respective topics. But, or should I say, and before we jump into topics, we also like to share some of our content recommendations, some of the new content recommendations that we might have stumbled across throughout the week. Anything that anyone wants to share. It could be books, it could be shows, it could be movies. If you bumped into a poem, I don't know. Y'all got anything?
I got a few quick ones. For some reason I've been watching more shows lately, and the Talk of the Town recently Fallout finished season 1,
Jesus. Did you
and
speed run it? Sorry.
basically it was. I saw the reviews. I played a little bit of Fallout when I was younger. I expected it to be good, but it was definitely more compelling than I thought it would be. Produced or directed by Jonathan Nolan, same dude who did Westworld, and there were definitely some elements that remind me of Westworld in a good way, and some in a bad way too, mostly in a good way, particularly season 1 of Westworld. Character work was very well done. There were some, again, I'm not super familiar with the Fallout games, but there were some things I caught, little Easter eggs and stuff for fans of the games, and if you knew nothing about the games, I think they did a pretty good job of world building, and it was very good. Didn't love the end of the season, but that's just my preference. And it was already renewed for a second season, so probably gonna be a lot more good stuff to come. So yeah, recommend watching that.
Nice. Yeah, that was one of the shows that I don't know. I think I might say I'm looking forward to that. So it's good that I already got a warm review on it. And it's good that you're recommending some shows that you just consider for the first time, because keep that in the back of your mind for one of the topics today. But sorry, continue. What else we got?
The second show I watched this week was Smiling Friends. I don't know if y'all heard of this, but it's a technically adult cartoon. It's not really. It's an Adult Swim cartoon. 15-minute episodes. It's only like a season out. It's like 10 episodes. And I wouldn't have even cared about
Yeah,
it,
I
but
gotta
I
know. How
saw
did
some
you bump
clips
into Smiling
circulating.
Friends?
Yeah. I saw some clips circulating, and I was like, this is kind of funny. And I watched the show, and I was like, yeah, this is kind of funny. It's it's pretty interesting in the way it frames its humor, because it's less so absurdist there's some absurd humor in it, but a lot of it is the comparison or juxtaposition between regular, everyday conversations that we'll have with each other, and it's like, damn, I've had this exact conversation before, and then some crazy shit will happen completely unrelated, but it ties into itself well. It's hard to explain it, but
Yeah, from the clips
it's
I've seen, it's definitely like you kind of have to just consume it to really get it, to
yeah,
really get what you're talking about.
it's funny. It's very high rewatchability. Like I'll go back and rewatch clips just because it's like it's funny. I don't know how better to explain it. So yeah, I recommend checking that out. And the last recommendation I have is X-Men '97, another show that's
Yes,
been
sir.
pretty talked about. And I've watched some X-Men, the original X-Men animated series. I actually watched more X-Men Evolution came afterwards, but I still remember some of the stuff from the original show, and this was really just a continuation of the show, the last season that had aired way back then, and it wasn't quite what I was expecting. I thought it would be more like a serial, I don't know about Monster of the Week uh cartoon, but I thought it would play or use like nostalgia factor a lot more, but it's it's very much its own show, and I'm not super familiar with the comics, which I think is a good thing because they do the pacing in the show is amazing, but they cover so many threads and different arcs in the comics that like some off the wall shit that I was not expecting at all to happen goes down like every single episode. And if you don't read the comics, you have no clue what's coming. And like
Nobody's read those
it's
old ass
it's
comics.
it's very much like a comic book. Like when you think about comic series and how they generally play out, like a whole bunch of different arcs, whole bunch of different tangents. Every character's getting with every other character, especially in like the Marvel ones, and it's so true to that. It's very I appreciate that about it a lot, and like even all that stuff aside, like animation is good. It's not like top tier, but it's very good, especially the fight scenes and like some of the later episodes. Like one episode in particular is like one of the best X-Men adjacent X-Men related pieces of content I've ever consumed. Like it's so good. And I'm not going to spoil anything about it, but it's not perfect. There's some flaws with it. Like the whole comic thing where it's reminiscent of comics, there's some things in it it's like you can kind of tell they put it in because it was in the comics and they had to continue the arc, but it's like it's just kind of out there.
I mean,
But
it should follow the source material, no?
yeah, to an extent, like they don't do it like exactly verbatim. There's some departures from it, but some of the things that they decisions they made, it's like they could have left that out. And like again, I think the pacing is good for the most part, but there's some pacing things that's like I don't know about that. Like characters meeting in the same episode and 10 minutes later saying "I love you." Like time skips kind of get portrayed better in comics than shows, but complaints aside, very much recommend checking that out.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, from all the clips and all the conversation I've seen regarding that show, is definitely a banger. Which, like I was saying before, I'm happy about because Marvel has seemed to be getting a bad rep lately because some of the movies and some of the other contents in the shitter. But yeah, that's dope to hear. That's a banger. They just gotta keep doing that. I don't know if it'll. I don't know if that's something that could quickly get repetitive, but I mean, all those old not all like Marvel heroes have like their own old show. Iron Man, Spider Man. I think Hulk even had an old show, so they could go back and just do a continuation of all those shows as long as it got the all the same elements that this one does. Not that I'm saying they're gonna do that, but The fact that we got again a W with this is a good thing. And yeah, from all the clips I've seen, I think we even watched a clip of one of the fight scenes. They think they're doing a good job. Um, anything else?
That is all for me this week.
Got you. Okay.
Yo, quick question. The Smiling Friends joint, is that actually new, or did Adult Swim like drop episodes of that, or have they been dropping like clips or episodes over the years? Because I feel like I've
It's
seen stuff from it years
yeah,
ago.
it's pretty. I don't want to say it's old, but it's. I think the first season came out like a couple years ago. It's kind of gaining steam because the first episode of season 2 recently dropped,
Oh,
and
okay.
season 2 is dropping in May, I believe. And then with that episode, it's getting a lot more people going back and watching the original first season.
Got it. Makes sense.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Then I suppose if there's nothing else, I feel like I'm forgetting something too. Not a content recommendation, but just in general. But it's fine. If there's nothing else, we can get right into the topics we're here for. We're all here for. So let me do this first, and then get rid of that. Come here. Okay. Hopefully that's in the right. The names are in the right order. They're not. Anyway, don't forget to check out the stream, Mace. Sorry, when you have a chance, you check out the screen and make sure everything looks in order. Or
Yeah, I
sounds.
listened and I just forgot to post a message.
You're good. As
The
long as
playlist
everything
is up too.
nice. Yeah, I gotta go change that soon. Anyway. So, I'd like to start off with something light before we get into crux, some of the deeper conversations. But this is something I'm definitely interested to hear what y'all takes are. Throughout as I've gotten a little older, I will admit I think there was a time where I had somewhat of a notion that like not all college experiences are the same, and they're not obviously, but just in the sense that like some people have an incredibly easy time throughout college due to the majors that they pick or the courses that they take. But I started to realize that while there are some majors that are just going to be inherently more difficult due to the nature of it, your medical professions, your advanced law degrees, your engineering degrees, I think you could make the case that college and higher education is just an inherently difficult road to partake. And yeah, I think one of the reasons because like no matter what your major is or what program you're in, you still are forced for whatever reason to take classes that are not directly going to be tied to what you will be working on in your actual future. Basically, you're learning something that has nothing to do with the price right, so what you actually want to do. But whether it's even if it is something adjacent or if it's something that is required for your actual profession, I think it would be worth asking not age old question, but one of the age old questions of what was the hardest class you took in college. So yeah, I'm relatively interested to hear what y'all think. We'll start off with you, Ace. You started school way before us. No, I'm just joking. But before us.
So I had an answer for this. I saw this question last week, and I had an answer, and pretty much right before the podcast started, I realized my answer was incorrect, and it was a much better answer that I've been saying for years. And it is, for me, the class was probability and statistics. Um,
Odds and stats. And what made it? What made it the hardest class that you would say?
I would say that most classes that are based in like math, even if they were hard for me, they at least felt intuitive. Like it would take a lot of thinking to be able to retain concepts, but everything felt like it kind of it was intuitive where you would learn something and it kind of meshed with what you understood before, and you just build on top of these ideas. And problem stats for me, it never felt that way. I often say it's fake math to me because like it felt like you would learn something and then like you'd learn something else kind of out of nowhere and it'd be like this is how you calculate the probability of this, but then for like a dice roll and then a deck of cards or something else, and it never really clicked. And then statistics, it was like you have these different ways to look at the statistics of a particular thing. You have the bell curve and different
Yep.
curves and a Z bar and things like that. And it's just a bunch of ideas that you get, a bunch of new concepts you have to learn, but yeah, they never meshed. And I couldn't like I couldn't just use my intuition on the problems. It truly had to be me kind of just memorizing equations or formulas in order to perform calculations. And then a lot of the problems that you do in these types of these type of classes are word problems, so you have to have a good understanding of how to apply those formulas to word problems. If you don't have that, like, it just makes it extremely difficult. So that was always a problem for me with that class. And yeah, like, I don't even know if it was necessarily the hardest. It was just I like there was just stuff I did not grasp. I didn't really retain it afterward. So yeah, I would put that one up there for me.
Got you, got you. And is there anything that you could say, or maybe even like a warning or like a piece of advice you could give to somebody if they were about to take that class?
Um I would say, I mean, one thing I have realized is how important it has been, regardless of the fact that I didn't have a good grasp on it. I feel like I should have tried harder because like my field, I'm in the civil engineering field, and I didn't really think that probability and statistics would really apply. But then you get into the aspect of engineering where you can't design for literally every situation. There's always going to be a probability that what do they call it, like a once in 100 year
Yep.
event will occur, and that are you going to design for that event for every structure you design, or can you design for like a 50-year event, a 50-year storm or something like that? So probability and statistics becomes a very important thing in that way, and I wouldn't be surprised if it applies to a lot of fields as well. So even though I had a lot of trouble with it, I I feel like I should have stuck with it and tried to retain what I learned, and tried to continue maybe to shore up on those concepts, so that for my field, I would have a better grasp of how some of these different design paradigms of come out of those probability and statistics. So yeah, I mean, just the fact that it's important, you you might want to keep a kind of try to keep an open mind about it, and truly try to grasp it if you can.
I see what you're saying, because for a lot of people, once they learn something in the class, they basically throw it out once they stop using that book. But there are a lot of principles. I guess just for sake, what was your going to be your alternative answer, or I guess your second place?
Fluid mechanics.
Oh, yikes. Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, what about you, Ghost? What would you say is the hardest class you ever took while you were in college? And what made
Um,
it so hard or challenging?
I kind of have a few different answers.
Okay.
I won't be too long about this, but the first answer that was not major related, I'm also a civil engineer, would be
Oh yeah, we probably should have said our majors in the beginning. Yeah, that would be more context. For
Yeah,
those for those who wonder, Ace is a civil engineer, as was Ghost, and I have two majors, but I just typically represent. I was in electrical engineering. Go ahead, Ace. I mean, sorry. Go ahead, Ghost.
yeah. So Cal wasn't so yeah. Chemistry, Chem two specifically. For some reason, I don't know why it was. I think I failed it once, or I failed it once, and I got very close to failing it again. And
Damn.
that one was uniquely challenging because a lot of the concepts I feel like I got, but then some of it was just there came a point where it was like I didn't understand a lot of the stuff, and I felt like I should be doing better than I actually ended up doing in the course. So that was frustrating, and I despise chemistry regardless, so that just added on to it. Uh, the hardest class, hardest regular class because of the actual classwork or coursework for me would be what was I gonna say? Oh my god, differential equations.
Damn. You low key
I
still. You
was
low key still my answers.
bro. I was so bad. I failed DiffEq twice and I almost failed it 3 times. It was that's I despised it and the teacher for it wasn't good, but even outside of that, it was
Damn. I think we
like
might have the damn same experience.
like a lot of the stuff like you talking about how stats is fake math. Like compared to fucking DiffEq, stats makes so much sense because DiffEq it's a garbage course. I hate it. And
So
that one, like stats, I use that constantly. I still use it in my field, but DiffEq, I never used it once. I never will use it. Hate that fucking class. Um, yeah, and then the last kind of cheating answer. Uh, I had well, I think I also had a fluix mechanic class, but the reason why it was challenging wasn't because of the actual coursework. It was because of uh the partner I had in the group project.
Oh
One of
shit.
the partners is cool, but I've told you all
I
about this
think we
before.
might have heard these stories.
Yeah, this
I
was
bet.
years ago. This might have been one of the first podcast episodes actually, but Alex.
All right. Well, I can't let Sauce. I mean, I know you're just saying his first name, but
Yeah, I'm
let's.
not. I really want to dox his last name too, but to keep it brief, he was the worst lab partner ever, and he made things so difficult, especially because we were supposed to have 4 people, but our group had 3 just because it was. I think we didn't have enough people in the class, so essentially it was me and the other dude doing the work of 4 people because Alex was fucking useless.
Jesus.
So yeah, that made it very challenging, and I won't get into the whole debacle of everything that happened, but I will say that I got a little bit of revenge because a couple years after I graduated and I'm working at my company, he applied and they asked me, "Hey, this kid went to UMass Dartmouth. Do you know him?" Oh shit, I just doxed my college. Who
All
cares?
type of doxing.
Who
That's fine.
cares, bro?
I
Who
think
cares?
I think it's relatively common for people to say what school they went to. I don't think that's any problem.
Yeah, so you said, "Oh, this kid went to the school you did. Hey, did you know him?" And the second I saw his name, I just burst out laughing. I was like, "Do not hire this dude. He's the worst. He'll be the absolute worst ad you could possibly bring to this company." So yeah, he did not get the job, and don't have to deal with us anymore. So yeah,
Damn.
that's my 3 answers. A little bit of variety, but
Dang.
real
Kind
quick,
of.
I kind of want to refute the Diffie Qs. I actually loved that class.
bro, you must. Well,
Well,
I don't want to say
you
I
would have
love
to refute
stats,
it.
but I really enjoy
You would have to
stats.
refute it
So,
to. It'd be 2v1 because difficult is one of my answers too.
bro, DiffEq is garbage, bro.
Differential
I don't know what
It
you're
was
equations.
talking
amazing
about.
The
too,
reason
and
why I would say it was one of my most difficult courses is because it's like it really is a culmination of stuff that we learn, but it's not like you can just put that 1 plus 2 equals 3. it morphs it and distorts it in a way where like I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. It's like
Bro.
when I was in Calc 1, I was able to bang that out. When I was in Calc 2, it got challenging, but I was still able to get through it. And then I get to DVQ and they say, okay, so you're gonna take what you learned in those classes and we're gonna apply it.
Yep.
And I just instantly get brain blasted, like,
Yep.
bro. And then on top of that, similar to what you were saying, Ghost, I had the worst. Like one day I'm gonna come on here and start giving up some of my past. I had the worst professor ever, to the point where like I would just one day I just genuinely was like, all right, I'm really not doing so on this. Can you just help me? Or can you just please help me? The way he just looked in my face and said, "Sorry, dog, I can't help you." I just needed a smidgen of help,
Whole
and
world.
he
Oh
just
my
he literally
god.
said he literally I'm like, this is no joking. He says, "I can't help you. Get out of my office." Like verbatim.
Dang, no, no, no.
Nah, he had to be he had to be racist or
Yeah,
something because that's
it
crazy.
was,
And it's
yeah.
like
That's nuts.
back then when I still have it, but still had like that little bit of like hood in me. It was like I was like I'm in school, but like is he like this guy want to fight? Like I was so confused. And to even further articulate this, and this is kind of reference only maybe so few people get, but on the Pimp a Butterfly, you if you know the record, you where in the beginning Kendrick is yelling. I think that's the name of the record. Go check that up to see if I'm right. But there was one time I was taking a test, and of course when you're taking a test, everyone's just quiet, and I literally felt like in the middle of class just bursting out yelling. Like I
Yo,
was literally going insane. I just had to yell. Yeah, it is you because he's
that's
like love
crazy.
because loving you is complicated. Yeah, that was the one of the most challenging class ever. That is difficult on so many levels. The only thing I can even begin to recommend is, and this is actually applicable. This is actually gonna be one of the more stories. College, like a lot of other elements in life, is not something you should. I mean, unless you're Einstein, Isaac Newton, genius level, you should not approach it as like this is gonna be a solo dolo mission. Get yourself somebody else that's in the class. Every homework assignment work on together. Every project work on together. Study together. Like put one and two together, and use a couple minds so you can get through this. If you like me and just you're sitting in the math lab or the computer lab looking at the assignment, looking at the problem, and it's hours going by and the project ain't moving nowhere or the assignment ain't moving nowhere, it's not gonna work out for you. That's definitely a class or an example of a class where I would recommend you definitely find some other students and you work together on that. But yeah, I don't want to get into a rant back too much. But I was gonna say, similar to you, though. So I guess we've had some existence. Chemistry was also incredibly difficult course for me, because like I think you mentioned this. It's like some of the concepts, like I mean, like understanding an atom or understanding molecules. It starts off like that, and then it just
Yeah,
quickly ramps up, and by the time you get to like combining different elements and like it blows it out the water for me.
yeah. Like at a base level, it kind of makes sense, but then they get into the valence electron clouds and SP.
Yeah,
Yeah,
SP
Bro, oh
orbitals.
my god, they changed the structure of an atom,
Yeah.
and they made it so much more difficult than oh my
yeah,
god.
that chemistry definitely
I
has
think
a lot of
I
difficulty.
I would venture to say the reason we had so much trouble with chemistry is because, like with physics, you start at a very basic level, but you build up you build up very methodically and slowly, and like you go from the basic kinematics to dynamics, and but everything comes like it all comes in a very sequential way. Even when they introduce electricity, it's still very sequential. With chemistry, it's kind of like you're just jumping from idea to idea,
Hmm.
and you're getting like a high level overview of how to do certain things, like with those valence electrons and stuff. But I almost feel like there's stuff in between that they don't teach because of maybe it requires like higher level math or something like that. But
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like as smooth of a transition between the concepts. So I think
Yeah, it
that's what I had
feels
trouble with it too. So
all it feels just all independent. Plus, we had those stupid chemistry labs where it would be like completely unrelated to what we actually learned in the classes. Like,
titration.
yep, titrate. Like, they didn't teach us about that shit. They taught us about that shit in the lab, and then we went back to learn about electrons in the class.
Yeah.
Like, fuck out of here.
I'm not gonna lie. The lab was the low key fun part. You actually get
The
put
lab was fine,
science
but
to
No, it was
it
beaker.
didn't
fine
help with the
though.
class.
Yeah, I just did the instructions. Like I didn't really know
Yeah,
what was
exactly. It
happening
was
in the
usually
lab.
just like they hand you instructions. You collab with your partners and try to get the intended result.
Yeah. But yeah, Ghost is right. Like, did it really relate to the stuff we were learning in
It
class
never,
No,
half
never
the
but
time?
I'm just saying it wasn't bad. It was a breakaway from the. It should have been an easy, well, relatively
We should
easy
have had
A.
only labs instead of doing the fucking classwork. I would have been straight with
That would
that.
have been the stress, especially if you're not, in a chemistry based major. And now, the last thing I was going to say regarding chemistry, I will say it definitely gives me a lot of not appreciation. I give a lot of salute to people that are in like more biomedical
Yeah.
Bro, like
majors. I remember
organic
one,
chemistry.
yeah. I remember one time I was just like in a study room with these biomed majors or this or something, and they were talking about like how do you like identify a cancer cell and like what happens when you notice it start to modulate or something. It just was a completely above my pay grade. So I definitely respect those brothers and sisters. Um, yeah, yeah. Ultimately speaking, like I said in the beginning, college, higher education, university, depending on where you are, is typically no joke, and that's why I would say it does take a decent amount of discipline to actually make it through it. Especially, and we could spend an entire podcast talking about college, but especially when you do have times where you're low key facing failure of a class, or maybe you do fail a class, and then like how do you like get yourself in the mindset where you keep pushing forward? Because a lot of people, when they do get to that point, they're like, all right, college just ain't for me, and they take another route, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, there's a lot of aspects of it, but also it ultimately does take discipline, and it does take a certain level of I'm going to finish this no matter what by any means necessary, and that's why you got to give salute to everybody that goes that route. Some level of salute, because some people do some relatively foolish majors. No offense, but all things considered, it is a difficult road. So we definitely acknowledge that here. And if anyone not yeah, I guess you gotta do the YouTube type of thing. If anyone, for all of our college listeners or postgrad college, whatever you call it, if you've been to college before, definitely put in the comments what your hardest class was while you were in school. I'd be definitely interested to know what people think. I think a lot of people will say math because math just seems like the highest technical level of work. But I don't know. I feels like if you're like in the engineering field, math is not necessarily the hardest thing. It's a lot of engineering majors tend to say like is a writing class that's like the most difficult. But it just depends on your perspective, I suppose. All the same, there's a lot more to talk about. So if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. All right, another relatively brief topic, but one I'm definitely interested to know your thoughts on. And it's funny because a lot of the recommendations, our content recommendation that we provide today is war show related. What show grabbed your attention from episode 1? Man, there's so many classic shows that came out throughout time, and some of them are so classic and cult classic and maybe even trash to this day. And one thing that is a conversation that people always talk about is like a show or a movie or something that grabs you from like the jump, like off the bat. It's this is going to be the one. And a lot of shows do have that. There are some shows that are more slow build, but some shows like from the jump, this is something that's gonna keep you glued to your seat. So I'm interested to know what y'all think, and I guess we can just go through this. What some of the users have said. get some ideas if you guys do need a second to think about scroll over race. So one person says Desperate Housewives. I've never consumed it, so I can't speak on that one. Breaking Bad. I've actually never seen it myself, but this is one show that probably people would put on like the top 10 shows of all time, maybe even higher than that.
Top one. Oh, I don't know about that, but it's close.
Keep going. How to Get Away with Murder. I also can't speak too much on it, but I mean, with an actress like that, I probably does. It probably is a banger. What else? The Boys. The Boys on my list.
Oh shoot, I forgot. That was a good opening episode.
The Boys on my list. I actually probably never seen really bad reviews about Boys. The Boys. Keep going. The Bear, man. Nah, this might be one of my answers. The Bear is a banger from the
I
jump.
think
I'm not gonna lie.
we watched that one together. I think that might have been the only episode of the show you watched. Oh no, did we? I think we might have watched the first 2 episodes.
What else? Lost. Lost is a old ass show when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. Lost might be 20 years old at this point. I've actually never seen it, but it is on my list to go back and watch. Not to go back, but to go and watch it one day. What else they got? The Wire. If you are a fan of the culture, you know about The Wire, or at least you know that meme where the guy turns around like. But yeah, I've maybe lose some credit, but actually I've not seen. I only seen clips, but I've definitely you only hear good things about The Wire. And Snowfall, is that the last one out there? Snowfall. Spoiler, I'm gonna have some things to say about Snowfall in just a second. That's all I'm gonna say. What was that next one? Invincible? Invincible is definitely. I feel as if Invincible is one of those shows that took the internet by storm. I don't know if people, because it's like this is definitely not one of the comedies that people are super in the know about. So Invincible is definitely a show that like you just peep in because people are talking about it, and then once you find out what's going on, you're like, yeah, this is something. Go back to that first slide just so it's not on any one thing. Oh, and also there might be some spoilers in the conversation. Spoiler alert, and I actually want to ask all about some shows specifically. So I know spoiler culture is everyone cries about it. So I'm telling you now. There's gonna be some spoilers. If you don't like spoilers, even though it would suck, but get out. So let's start with you, Ghost. What would you say is a show that grabbed your attention from the first episode from the jump?
I'm gonna cheat again. I don't have one specific answer. More so a few different episodes that have come to mind. And I think something that does help a lot is how good is it relative to the rest of the show? Like, because you can have a good first episode, but if it isn't as good as some of the better episodes of the later episodes of the season or whatever, then you kind of get some points knocked down, in my opinion. With all that being said, I would say I can list 5.
Top 5 dead or alive.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, super excellent, compelling. Legion, I love that the first.
Well,
couple
slow
episodes.
down, because some of us haven't seen some of these shows. I've never seen Game of Thrones, another show I've never seen because it got too much hype. Even though it says there's gonna be spoilers, without providing any spoilers, what about Game of Thrones was dope from the beginning?
I mean, just the way it kind of immediately throws you into the plot. I still remember the opening scene, and I didn't really know what's going on, but just the way that it's put together, it's like you can immediately tell within the first 5 episodes, like, yeah, the show's gonna be great, and that was one aspect of it. There were a couple very good character moments in the first episodes, and the episode was dope. I'm trying to work around these spoilers here.
No, you
But
answered my question. You don't have to go. You don't go deeper. And then you said Legion. What genre is Legion?
uh, I don't know, sci-fi, I guess. I haven't actually finished Legion,
Hmm.
but I've watched the first few episodes, and that first episode was so good.
And
Um,
it's just like a superhero joint. I mean,
kind of
yeah,
very
adjacent.
yeah very adjacent, but yeah, first episode was super good. I don't recall a whole lot of plot points from it, to be honest. I just remember like, holy shit, this is good, and the rest of the show wasn't as good, unfortunately, but it was
Damn.
still decent from what I watched. Um, what was I gonna say? Okay, Fargo. That first episode of Fargo was super good, especially because I have not seen the movies, so I had no clue what was really going to happen. What the
You never
theme
seen the
of it
movies.
was.
Why'd you watch the shows?
I mean, it's not really, Fargo is kind of not the show was more of an anthology
No, I
than
know it's not.
following the movies
Spoiler. I know it's not.
directly.
I know it's not related to the movie all too much. But like, what compels you to watch the show then?
I just saw it was on FX, and FX usually has good shows, so I was like, yeah, let's check this out.
Fair enough.
And yeah, it was super great. And the end of the episode was super surprising as well. Was not expecting it. No spoilers again, but yeah, it was very well done. Second place
Well, you're
would
on like four, but or you're going. You're going from five to top. I said. I guess.
yeah, five down to this is my second. I would say House of Cards. That first episode with House of Cards, especially that first opening scene, was like top tier television. It's it does a perfect job of introducing you to the characters, immediately like wraps you in the world, and you I wouldn't say you're rooting for the main MC, but you're definitely he's super compelling without a doubt. Just from the very first few minutes. Um and yeah, it's again, I'm not gonna go into the full details of it, but it was really good. Um yeah, and then number one for me would be Lost.
Oh,
To
really?
stereotypical answer. Another show I technically haven't finished. I've watched a few seasons of, but first episode of Lost is looked at as pretty much the pinnacle of TV, especially TV openers, and it lives up to that mantra without a doubt. So
Damn.
yeah, I would put Lost there.
Like I said, it's on my list, but no, I'm definitely. Okay.
Like the first few seasons of Lost might be the best TV, the
All right.
best
Now let's
mystery
not gas
drama.
it up too much.
You have. I'm not gassing it. I'm not gassing it. If you've seen it, you know I'm not gassing it. It's that
Fair,
good.
fair enough. Fair enough. How about you, Ace? What is a show that caught your attention, had you glued to the screen from episode one?
All right, so Invincible is definitely on the list.
Solid answer.
Yeah, and I think the reason is I think the reason for most is like a twist ending in the beginning or in the at the end of a first episode is a really good way to hook people. And Invincible definitely had that, like one of the greatest, like just baffling, like what happened, what is going on. Just great way to kick off the season. Like amazing, amazing. Um, so yeah, Invincible. And I got a few more that I can remember. Westworld is another one.
I was low key thinking about that.
Yeah, the way that one starts and like kind of, the exposition is great. You know it's I mean, the whole idea of it being like um being like robots or whatever kind of gaining consciousness, and whether that's going to happen and how that's going to happen, um, and the way that plays out kind of begins to play out through Dolores's story in that first episode. It's very compelling. And again, like there was a slight twist at the end of the first episode that kind of hooks you to want to see what happens for the rest of the season. Um, and then I think the last one that I can say for sure, based on the well, actually, I will second Game of Thrones because that one does have a twist ending too. And then, yeah, the one that I will say, the last one I'll say for sure is Fringe. I don't know if you guys probably remember that.
Fringe is a classic.
I haven't seen that show. It's on my
Fringe
list.
is a if you know, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it was basically a like a more modern update on X Files. But the first episode of that show gets into like, I mean, you get introduced to this professor character who like did some experimentation with the government back in the I think like 60s, on like alt- altering mind states and things like that, and like um yeah, just the character expositions. There's and his son is in it, who's like a con man. He's a genius, but yeah, he's a con man, and like there's just very good characters, um, very good plot, and like I was always into sci-fi, so that angle of it really hooked me. And yeah, it the first season, the first few seasons, like they really didn't let up in the kind of episodic. They had like a monster of the week type of pattern, but there was also a overarching um, plot in the background that kind of slowly opened up over those first few seasons. So yeah, that was a great show. But yeah, that first episode definitely, especially when I was like teenager when that thing came out, it was very mind blowing.
Got you. I actually have several myself. If you know me, I'm more of a consumer of anime. Obviously, I've watched just as much, if not shows, as the next person. But if we're talking about my top tier content, I'm purely going to refer to animes. So I do got a couple of animes in mind. One being Bleach. Bleach is very, very iconic to me. And of course, you could say, you could apply a lot of other shonen anime or shonen related content into that, but like I kind of just Bleach for me is kind of like I remember the time and place, and it kind of has a really great setup for the story we're about to jump into. So yeah, and I'm thinking like out of the big three, and I have a question regarding the big three being Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. I'm thinking like which one had like the best first episode to me, IMO, and I think Bleach is just a bit higher in my mind. Naruto's first episode was relatively good as well. And then I have one other anime. You know what's interesting? Because I actually have the some other. You know what's interesting to me? I think when we think of and some of these examples, even on this slide, we're like I think this typically applies to like drama shows or like shows where there's action or like science fiction, but you never really think about like comedies, or I think you might not. But some of the first episodes of shows that I think were bangers, and maybe not having glue in the seats, I'm thinking like what's gonna happen, but I was able to like laugh and able to like link with the show immediately. Like this is gonna be one of my favorite shows. For me, it would be an anime that's also a comedy. That's also a lot of other things. Is Gintama. I've spoken very highly of Gintama before, and I will always do it because it's literally probably the greatest series of all time across many medias. But Gintama's first episode is funny. You don't really understand what's going on, and like it's just so worth sticking to it because it's like it really like it's just really like what's going on. And then like speaking of comics, another one that I remember relatively vividly is Arrested Development. Arrested Development's first episode is relatively like funny and like kind of like I guess the best way to describe a lot of comedies on the first episode is like what's going on, and enough so I'm laughing or invested enough towards I would say this is something I'm going to stick with. So yeah, when it comes to genres outside of like dramas, those I would say those are some top tier shows that from the first episode I was like, all right, I'm watching all this. So those are definitely my answers, and I guess another question that comes out of this is, and I guess ideally the answer is going to be yes. But do y'all think a show needs to grab you from the beginning, or do you more so subscribe to like you're down for kind of like waiting to see if it picks up? What do you think, Ace?
Um, I can definitely wait and see. And I mean, one of the best examples of that for me was um The Expanse. Like, but I guess I do have to I do have to have some like
Rec-
foreknowledge that it's supposed to get
Recommendation
better.
that's good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. If nobody has recommended it to me, or if it's not on some list, like I'm not gonna just pour time into something that may or may not get better.
So that's probably why you stuck with the one thing I'm about to bring up. And I meant to text you about this week, but I was kind of busy, so I didn't find time to actually get into a conversation with you. Do you apply it to One Piece
No, because I liked One Piece the from the beginning.
from the beginning?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. The stereotypical thing, like running gag when it comes to One Piece, or people that haven't seen it, is like it gets good after a while. But the gag is One Piece literally has 1,000 plus episodes, and I was thinking about that recently for whatever
Well,
reason,
yeah.
and I realized one, it's kind of right, and two, it's just like what does motivate a person to stick with something after a while? Obviously, One Piece is not bad from the beginning, from the first arcs. I was thinking in terms of arcs, not just the first episodes. Some of the first arcs are not. I mean, all the first arcs are relatively have a value in their own meaning, on their own right. But One Piece really starts to get hard once like they get kind of past like Arlong arc. That was hard. I'm not gonna say it wasn't hard,
Yeah.
but it starts to get like consistently like this is my show. I'm rooting for these guys. Once they get to the Grand Line, and once Luffy starts struggling, once he starts fighting guys that isn't like okay, I see your gimmick, but once I'm gonna get you. Once he starts struggling, that's when I'm like, this is it. So I was kind of
Mhm.
curious to know what you thought about that. Like I was gonna ask you like when do you really get into it, but I guess yeah, like you say, you were attached from the jump, which is
Yeah, I
fine.
mean, it is kind of tough looking back. Like, I don't look at it the same way I look at The Expanse. The Expanse truly, like the whole first season, pretty much, I was like, I struggled. But but with One Piece, like there is a certain element of if I just in a complete island to my own, didn't know what One Piece was, and I just tried it, and nobody else had recommended, I don't necessarily know that I would have continued with it. Probably not. But at the same time, it did not take that long for me to get into it because like it has a very specific sense of humor. It has a very specific way it tells the story, the way the you know the way it just introduces tons of characters that become very I don't know, compelling very quickly.
Yeah.
um it still works in its own unique way, so it didn't take me as long to get into it and be like, yeah, I could keep going with this, like this is kind of dope. um but yeah, I mean, at the same time, like again, if I was just on an island, didn't know anything about it, it after the first um after reading the first chapter, I don't know if I would have stick with it. The show is kind of tough to me in general, though. Like I still can't really.
And
to
there's
get into the
filler up
show.
in there in some places. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. The show is tough in general, but yeah. Either way, like it would have taken um a few chapters or whatever to really hook me.
Fair enough. What about you, Ghost? Do you, when you're watching a show, does it need to capture you from like the rip, or are you more inclined? Do you think shows deserve like a little time to warm up?
Um, Kind of the same as Ace. Like if I've gotten a recommendation that this show's gonna be good eventually, I'll probably stick with it. If I haven't gotten any recommendations, I'll. It depends. Like for one, what type of show it is. Like if it's a um comedy, my standards are a lot different than if it's a drama. And if it has some elements, like if I think it has potential, then I'll stick with it for a couple episodes. If not, or if I think it'll be boring, I will literally just go online, look at the synopsis of the season, and call it a day. Because
Jesus,
I know a show that I've done that for recently.
you gotta at least watch a YouTube analyst.
No. I read that shit a couple minutes and I'm straight. I saw the first episode of Silo, and it was kind of interesting, but the way the episode ended, it was like, what's the season gonna be about? And I read the synopsis and I was like, damn, I'm glad I didn't watch the entire season of this. So
Silo's supposed to be good though. What?
I don't know. You might like it, but I don't want to spoil. But
No, don't spoil it. I'm gonna watch it, but yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
a decent amount of stuff goes on in the first episode, and it's not even a bad first episode. But where it leaves off, it's like, okay, what now? And yeah, the answer wasn't too promising for me. So it really depends. Like nowadays, I kind of have lower standards, or higher standards, I should say. I don't want to waste my time on something I'm not going to enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a show that like I really did not like the first episode, but I came around to the rest of the series. It's tough to think of one, to be honest. But yeah.
I know I got something to get off my heart, something to get off my chest when it comes to first experience or something. You who else seen Snowfall here? Is you're the one that watched it, Ghost?
You know what's funny? I watched the first episode of Snowfall and I haven't picked it back up.
Really?
I am gonna go back and watch it eventually, but I wasn't like again, it wasn't bad, but I wasn't like super compelled. I didn't go as far as like watch the entire or read the entire synopsis of the show, but I was like, it's okay. I'll watch it eventually.
Well, I'm glad you said it, or someone else said it, because I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be all the way honest. If I was watching Snowfall when everyone else was watching it, and everyone else is saying it's Snowfall and Power, and these shows are the top of the top, and I think there was even at one point a conversation between Snowfall and The Wire, and I haven't watched The Wire yet.
Oh my! No.
But I'm just saying, I'm watching Snowfall for the first time, and I will interject myself and say I'm a completionist, so I'm gonna watch it all. There's no way I'm gonna stop, no matter what I'm currently feeling. But as far as like Snowfall being a classic, and everyone saying Franklin is like a top tier character, off the gate, I can't co-sign that. And if I was watching Snowfall with everybody else back in the day, I would have been looking at everyone else saying, "This is the guy we're rooting for."
Why do you think he's a bitch made pro tag?
See, you're gonna
I know.
Stop instigating and just trying to make me come on here and say something I don't mean. I don't think
he was.
I don't think
bad in the first episode, but I agree he wasn't super compelling to start.
The crazy thing, I'm expanding it to the whole first season.
You watched the whole first season?
I'm gonna be honest.
I don't
man,
think I gotta watch the show now.
I ain't
the whole season to get good.
Well,
Like,
let's be clear.
Episode.
Let's be clear. If you know anything about Snowfall, it's not just about this one single character like following him around 24/7.
Yeah.
There are other really good elements of the show. And I would say it has all the makings of a dope show off the bat. But I'm just saying, as far as like, if you don't know anything about Snowfall, you know the name Franklin, and you know Damson Edris, or however you say the homeboy's last name. And I'm sure he does become dope at some point. But as the first season, I don't know. I don't know if it's the writer's choice or if the way his character is. I ain't rooting for him, and that's all I'll say without getting into too much more. I ain't rooting for him, not because I don't like, and I'm against like people that are in the line of what the show's about, but his character, nah, nah.
Interesting. I don't think I'm gonna watch the first season now. 'Cause I 100% from the first episode that I've seen, I agree with your take. You know what's funny? I actually liked the first season of Power, which I haven't gone back and watched anymore. But I like the first season of Power, or the first episode of it, more than I liked Snowfall.
Yeah,
But
I
I
just
dropped it
like,
because of one specific character.
and
So
that's why I was so interested in coming in here and having this conversation. Obviously, we were kind of more just talking about shows that have caught our attention from the road, but it's like one, like I said, I do believe Snowfall will become the show that everybody acknowledges and respects it for. But I'm surprised with the first season that it became like that. That's all. That's what I'm saying. So maybe it was one of those shows where people didn't really wasn't into it back in the day, but then at first, and then once the seasons got progressed and it did get better, then people went back and watched it. And I'm thinking it's gonna be more like that. This is the first
yeah,
season.
I think that's what it was. Because I remember when it came out and some of the buzz around it, it wasn't like people were saying it was good, but people weren't saying like, "Oh, this is a much watch for the culture." It wasn't anything like that.
No, absolutely not. But yeah, this is not like a slander topic. Ultimately, yeah, I mean, there's been like I said, there's been so many classics that have come out, and like to recall like every show and every first episode that's we ever watched is would be too much of a task. But I think the ones that do come to our mind do speak volumes. And yeah, I think I'm actually a person that will let a show slow build. I don't think there's anything wrong with the first episode not being like the most explosive. Like you got like something. I mean, it has to have some elements that'll pull you in, but it doesn't have to be like the best episode of the entire season. But it definitely speaks volume in it. And also, I guess there is a question of like, what would you prefer, like a show that has a banger first episode, but then it starts to get mid throughout the season, or a show that has a slow first episode, but then it gets way better throughout the season. I guess just real quick, which one? I mean, I think like the answer is obvious, but is there anyone that would prefer the the other option?
I prefer the second, as long as I know that it gets good.
No, you don't know it gets
Yeah.
good. You're
Oh,
just
if
going
I
to
don't know, yeah, the first option, because again, I'll get hooked and I'll stick it out. But if I don't get hooked, I'm not gonna stick it out.
Um, yeah, that's probably true. Like it probably doesn't even matter the genre or anything. If the first episode doesn't hook you, I mean, yeah, I would just legit wait until everybody else watches the rest of the season.
see. That's why I say some of y'all sound like fake fans. I'll need other people to. Let me not. Anyway,
I think especially for comedies, for me, like 1,000% for comedies. I don't like one thing that comes to mind for me is Schitt's Creek. That first episode was not funny at all, and people say, "Oh, it gets so funny, get so good." I'm not. If the first episode isn't funny, and that's the first thing you're putting out, I don't have any trust in the rest of your show. Dramas, I'll give it more of a chance. Comedies, you get that one episode. If it's not funny, then you're done.
fair enough. Wait, oh no, I'm muted now.
You're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Okay.
I guess I can see it. Anyway, fair enough. Yeah. Salute to all the writers that can hook people from the jump, and also salute to all the writers that have a plan for you to get more hooked on throughout the season. But if nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. Salute to Hollywood Unlocked. Salute to Jason Lee. I remember seeing this a little while ago, and it sounds like something like that only happens in like a weird Florida story. But friendship feud: woman slams her best friend over baby name, and then court is saying you'll ruin her life. So, after facing backlash for critiquing her best friend's name for her newborn daughter, a woman recently sought the wisdom of the internet, leading to a heated debate on Reddit. Of course, that's where all the great debates happen about the implications of unique name spelling. The woman shared a story revealing a 17-year friendship, Jesus, put to test over the name Juliet. And the only reason why I know that is that's what the name's supposed to be is because I read this already.
Yeah.
Intended to be pronounced Juliet. The middle name Mariah.
Should we spell this out for anyone that isn't?
Yeah, absolutely. You already know. If you're an audio only listener, the way their name is Juliet, but the way they're spelled is GhiuliYette. So it's like Julie with the G, the Yet, Yette. Anyway, and their middle name is Mariah, which I think you would typically spell Mariah like how you spell Mariah Carey, but this is like Mahriya with a Y in it. Anyway,
super quick. Do y'all think that this is white people or black people?
It's black people. Come on. What are you talking about?
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Yes.
The Mariah, I think maybe black, but
maybe they'll specify.
Juliet, I don't know.
Maybe they'll specify. I don't think they will though. According to 2Fab, the Reddit user's disbelief at the unconventional spelling prompted her to express concern to a friend, suggesting such spelling could lead to difficulty in the child's future. Pardon me. Unique, yes, but that's just going to make the little girl suffer, and she will probably be bullied for the spelling. She explained in the post. The friend's response was one of offense, accusing the OP, original person, of ruining her mood and being overly critical. The situation escalated when the OP, reiterated her stance via text, predicting the child might opt to change their name or use the middle name instead due to its more conventional spelling. This led to the friend cutting off communication, labeling the OP original poster. What is OP?
It's original poster.
Okay.
Oh, so
okay. A bad friend and disrespectful for mocking the name. The friend's husband also reached out to the original poster, asking for respect towards the unique naming choice, which. Come on, Ace.
Distracted by something in the podcast chat.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Which he found cute and distinctive. Reddit users rallied for support against the original poster. Overwhelmingly agreed with the unconventional names might cause unnecessary challenges for the name. The high school teacher among the commenters noted that children with unique name spelling often face mispronunciation, spelling issues, and judgment, suggesting that the choices reflect Sorry, I'm reading a little bit too fast. Suggesting such choices reflect poorly on the parent and can be seen as immaturity. The thread highlighted stories of individuals who changed their name to conventional spelling upon reaching adulthood, emphasizing the potential long-term impact of such unique names. Now, we've all came across our fair share of names. I think, outside of your name, Ghost, I think we all have pretty standard names. So I guess we never really dealt with this, except my last name. The last name I've suffered.
Your name is not you. Your name is not. You said.
We're talking about as far as pronunciation and spelling. Simmer down.
Oh, okay.
I've suffered a great deal of bullying, torment, all the things that they said: bullying, mispronunciation, misspelling, all that.
Because of our last
name.
Yes. The last name.
Oh, damn. Because the last. Oh, wait. So, Quest.
Yes.
I've never asked you this. I forgot. I'm just thinking of this now. What is the source of your name? Why are you named your first name? Does it have anything to do with Star Wars?
You interrupting the podcast with this nonsense, bro? It's not about us. The podcast is not about us. Bro, I don't know. All I know is my pops named me, and my pop's middle name, believe it or not, is Orlando.
Oh, okay. I wondered. I was like, was that Lando Calrissian? Okay, got you.
So yeah.
Is your first name like the combination? Your official first name, is it the combination of both, or is it split?
Oh
It's
my
a
gosh.
quest.
Listen, I got
I should
maybe
know this, but
maybe it's I don't even care about that. It's because I'm talking about me. Listen, I got no disrespect for anybody, but go ask my pops. That brother got the answers. But yeah, the point is I can relate to some of what they're saying because of the last name, because of my last name. But outside of that, you know, naming.
bullying for a
But
last name is crazy, to be honest.
you're telling me.
Like
But
first name is, I would say, understandable.
hey
That's
man,
wild.
because kids are brutal, and that's what everybody knows. Is kids will latch on to the most strangest thing that you have no control over. Oh, you have freckles. Oh, you have glasses. Or your last name. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, but we still have come across people with strange naming conventions, naming spellings. I'm just kind of curious to what y'all think about this thing. Do you think about this with your future children? I don't know if you guys even have names planned. How you would potentially go about naming children, and you think in general that parents should be conscious of how their children's names are spelled or pronounced. Before actually naming them, or do you think parents have the full discretion to name their child whatever? Even like Elon Musk, didn't he put like literal numbers in the child's name or something like that?
The alien spaceship.
What you think, Ace? You think parents have carte blanche to name their kids whatever they want, or do you think they should be conscious of what they name their kids?
I do think they have carte blanche, but um, other people are going to think like the post said. You're going to think not necessarily negatively on the parent, but like that they're immature or maybe they I don't you wouldn't assume that they didn't know the right spelling, but it's like yeah, it would just be immaturity. It would be like why didn't you just name them the normal or use the normal spelling? Like why do you why
Well,
did
because
you
like they said, they want to think it's unique and creative. Don't you want your child to stand out in the world of a billion or 8 billion people?
well, yeah, I mean the child didn't have a choice, so I wouldn't think anything of the child, but I would just think I would
No, I'm
just
saying
think
that could be the potential logic and reasoning because they want their child to stand out.
give them an actual unique name, not a unique spelling. I don't.
Don't tell them that. No, don't tell them that, because they get even
Yeah, I
worse.
guess
I
that's true.
mean, maybe they can't. I mean, what's easier, thinking of a unique name or a unique spelling, or a different way
Just
to
go to the
do
baby
something.
name book. Choose a unique name. Like I don't. It's
Well,
not
if
that hard.
It's
if
not
you have a
unique
baby
if it's
name
in the
book,
book.
isn't that meaning it's not that unique? Because in the baby name book,
No, I mean some are more and some are less unique in the
well,
baby
what
name
if you
book.
want them super unique? Like this person probably is one of the only, if not only, person that spelled Juliet like that.
Yeah, you don't want your child to be one of one.
Yeah.
You'll achieve that. You will achieve that. Um. Yeah. Yeah. They'll achieve it. So I can't argue it. But I still like regardless of whether or not the person I mean I guess they just don't care about their own reputation because again like you're going to be seen as immature regardless. um
You agree with that sentiment? I don't necessarily get immaturity from making a decision like that. I think maybe ignorant.
no, I don't get ignorant. Actually I do get immature because
Well,
it's
they're
not.
ignorant of the fact that, like they're saying, your child will face some level of ridicule, and they'll have to go through like when the substitute teacher's reading the name, is Miss Giuliano yet? Who is this? Like a fake name? They'll have to
But
deal with
they
stuff like
would
that.
understand that. Like, there's no way they don't get that. Like, the friend has explained it, so how could they be ignorant of it?
Well, if you do something and you know what the outcome is, you think the only thing could be ignorance. No.
No, because if you know, you do know the outcome though. The person
Okay,
clearly.
so if it's not ignorance, then what is it? Maliciousness? Like, why would you
It's
such a
selfishness. That's what
why
it
would you
is.
set
It's
yourself? Why would you set your
selfish.
child up for like dealing with this like hardship in life?
It's selfish. That's what it
Oh,
is.
we'll get to you. Slow down.
um yeah, I mean, I don't like the way you posed it. I do believe that the person does want their child to stand out as unique. They do think it's um going to set them apart in a positive way that outweighs the
The trouble that they'll face in
um
life.
yeah, the negative.
Fair enough.
um so yeah, in that way, that would be how they justify it in their mind.
So what you
um
saying? If you had a friend or you had a family member and they told you what they plan to name the kid and it was something somewhat outlandish or outrageous in either the spelling or the pronunciation, would you give your 2 cents or would you keep it to yourself?
I would definitely give my 2 cents. And but obviously, I mean, ultimately, obviously it's their choice, and I wouldn't end a friendship because of it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, fair enough. I think I wanted my challenge your thinking a bit more, but how about you? How about you, Ghost? You think parents got to be conscious of what they name their kids and how they spell it, or do you think parents have every single right to name exactly what they want and nothing else matters?
I think that choosing a name for your child is one of the most important things you can do
Facts.
as a parent. And I mean, you kind of, y'all said ignorance or you want the name to be unique. Really, what it boils down to is you want to have the clout or the notoriety of naming your child something different. When parents do this, they're not thinking about the child themselves. They're not thinking, oh, they're gonna grow up and it's gonna this unique name is gonna benefit them in a certain way. They just think in their mind, oh, this is a cool spelling. Oh, this sounds cool. This looks cool. So because of that, I'm gonna name my child this, and they don't think of the repercussions. Because when you're naming a child, my rules, whenever I name a child, whenever I have a child, you got to think about what is the child going to be called when they're a baby, what's the child going to be called when they're a kid, what's the child going to be called when they're adult.
You're
You
actually
can't
really
have
right.
no wild names like Gerald. You can't name your baby Gerald. Like no one's gonna look at a baby and say, "Oh, look at baby Gerald." Fuck out of here.
Wait, what's wrong with Gerald? Hold on, let's not slander real names
No, no, no.
IRL.
When old 50-year-old man, yeah, sure, that's a Gerald, but there's no baby that's a damn Gerald. So that's a kind of a irrelevant tangent. But what really is
I
important,
mean,
what
that's why
really
they have
matters.
nicknames. They would just be like Lil J or Lil
Jerry.
G.
Jerry, can't call no baby Jerry. But
We're not
I,
here to create
yeah,
the
I know
rules and
that's kind
regulations of what you
that's
can call babies now.
okay. That's kind of beside the point. But the what it really should boil down to is you need to think of, or you need to have your child's best interests in mind. That's
Yeah.
what it should really be about. You can have a unique name. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Like my name is definitely unique, and I don't like hate it or anything. But there needs to be a balance between uniqueness and is it unique because it actually means something? Like, does it mean something in a different language, or did you have a family member? Like, there's nothing wrong with a unconventional name off the rip,
Yeah.
but these crazy names, like, there's spectrums of it. Like when parents name their child like unique with a crazy spelling, like, come on now, you not only are you not imaginative, it's just you're setting your child up for non-success. And when you hear the stories of parents naming their kids like something offensive or like like some like for I got the perfect example, which I don't know if this was done out of maliciousness, but the NBA coach Steve Kerr named his son Nick, not
Yeah.
Nicholas, Nick. And something like that, it's like, Dog, what are you doing?
That was the day. That damn foresight. Knock it off.
I mean, yeah, me again. I don't think that was necessarily malicious. It could have been just they weren't thinking about it until it was too late. But it's like you you need to take into account, like, is your child going to get bullied for this name? And if they are, no matter if it's unique or not, don't give it to them. It's that simple. Like, think about your
You
kid.
you are very much right, and that's something I actually thought about. I think basically what you're saying, at the end of the day, you do have to, before you just give that name that you've always wanted to name your kid, you have to kind of play around with it. Like, how does it sound? Like, how does it sound when you say out the whole name or whatever? I will say, you low key making me self conscious of the names that I have lined up for my children, because some of them low key probably are going to be in
You
the
should
We,
be. I think we already discussed
we
this.
got nah,
first.
we got to hear
First
we
of
got to hear
all,
a couple of them. You got to drop a couple.
first of all, the
You
real
got
first of
come
all,
on
hell no. My rule,
for the content quest. Come on,
hell no.
give us one. Give us one.
I don't believe in any superstitious BS, but that's like one of the few things that you could probably tie me to. I'm not saying the only person that's ever gonna know what I plan to name my kids, the person that I'm 100% sure I'm having kids with, absolutely.
Dog, I'm
And then
telling you
and then
right now.
no one will know until those kids are actually born.
Okay, so if you don't want to tell us now, it's whatever. You need to run this by us, all three of us, when Wes is here. You need to run this by us.
Look who
I am so serious about
look who
this
my
right now,
counsel
Wes.
is.
I'm so serious about this right now. You need to run this by us, and I'll run my names by y'all. You cannot name your child something crazy. You don't even just say whatever it is. You just say I'm
This is
consuming
a
these names.
wild thing to promise on the
Nah,
podcast.
bro, I am. If you will be surprised about the perspective and the different, like, oh, this name is, oh, this actually means this. Like, bro, you could make an innuendo
The,
out of this
the,
shortening. No, bro, I'm so
the thing is,
serious.
even if I do agree to this, there's like only like less than 1% margin or chance that I'm gonna actually change. I have my name pretty much locked in. So I'm just being honest with you. Even if I agree to this strange agreement, I pretty much have the names locked in. But I will always bring up the fact when we talk about future names or baby names. Low key, I actually did reveal the names of one of my future children to people on this podcast, and they immediately proceeded to laugh me out the park.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I do not surprise. It was really clean. Like you have to think of the kids. Think of the kids. You it shouldn't be selfish. Your child's name has nothing to
The
do with
thing
you.
is,
It has
there
nothing
has
to do with you.
there you are 100% right. I thoroughly agree with you, but there has to be some middle ground. Because at the end of the day, as a parent, and I don't know if it's parents yet, but I think every parent will have some type of desire for their child to have some level of uniqueness in the world, for them
That's
to
that's
them to stand out to some
fair.
degree. So I mean, like there has to be something in between, complete like unconventional will be bullied for, opposed to like your name being Michael Tom
Yeah, it has to
or
be a
John
good
Doe.
unique. That's really all that
Well, what is
matters.
good unique? Unique does not
That's
have.
why that's why you need to think. That's why you need to run it by some friends first, and we'll give the
Okay.
sign out. Like, I'm
The
so
thing is, and I
serious
think
about
I
this.
think this is why the superstition exists. What if your friends are haters and they say no, that name's not cool, but then next thing you know, when their baby's born, they yoink it.
Yo, that's crazy. Hater. Listen, I'm a hater. I'm probably the biggest hater I know. But I'm not gonna hate when it comes to a baby names. Like if
You
you're a good person, people aren't gonna hate
you
when it
won't,
comes
but I wouldn't put it past humans to do that. Next thing you know, you're in the
humans in general. Maybe I
next
kind
thing
of get it,
next
but
thing you know, you're at a or not a baby shower, but you're in the hospital. Yeah, we decided to name our baby such and such, and they're like, isn't that the name? You told me not to name my baby. But once we thought about it, we actually realized we did like that name.
yo, that
And
that
then you're trying to
that's
fight, and then you're trying to
wild.
fight the parents while they got the baby in the hospital, and then you got to get thrown out the hospital, all type of nonsense. But anyway, I'm
Scenarios
just
to talk about.
I'm just chatting. Um, Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't ask you. So I mean, but you kind of answered the question indirectly. So if somebody did reveal their potential baby name goes, and it was something crazy, you give your two
Yeah, I
cents.
kind of already answered this, but I am 100% like I don't care about your feelings. I'm not going to be sensitive about it. I will straight up tell someone your baby name is trash. If they haven't named the baby yet, that's the caveat. If they name the baby, it's too late. You
Yeah, it's
can
too
think
late.
in your head.
What's on the birth certificate? It's too late.
I know a couple people that have some trash baby names, but I can't say that to them now because they already named the baby. But yeah, beforehand, all bets are off. I will tell you straight up, that's trash. Like no, I'm not sugarcoating it.
If you guys were born with some crazy ass names, would you potentially feel inclined to change it? Do you think you have the right, or what? Or
I
do
mean,
you?
I'd say that I kind of fall. Like my name isn't bad crazy, but I'm if I had the name Nick Kerr, yes, I would change my name. But
That's funny.
I right now I am not inclined.
Well, not right now, but I'm saying if you, you're saying you would potentially if it
Yeah, at
fell
no
into that
point in
type
my
of.
life have I ever wanted to change.
Well,
If it was
I
crazy
would
enough,
assume not.
then yeah.
What about you, Ace? If your parents gave you a hella crazy name, would you ever feel inclined to change it, or do you think that name that your parents give you, you gotta stick with it?
I'm inclined to believe I would stick with it. But maybe not. I don't know for sure.
I'm trying to think of like a crazy, but something not too crazy. Um, yeah. What if they named you I am I am, but and your last name is
Legend. Something crazy.
Oh, I like that. Yes, your last name is Legend. I was gonna use something a little more controversial, so I went into that.
No, I'd be good with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. What if you have a name like a last name where you're pairing like your name's like Woody Johnson? That's kind of like a tame version of where my mind is heading with this, but something that's very easily
What if your
misconstrued.
first name is I like and your last name is
Yes,
you
yes,
don't like?
that's a great example. I'm 1000
The
percent
thing
changing
is,
my name.
I think going through going through childhood and teenage years or whatever with that name would have probably been enough to trigger me to change it before the age that I am now. But the age that I am now, I think I would be fine with it. Like I would, yeah, yeah, I would be fine with it.
Well, how old
I would deal with it.
how
Like,
old do you have to be to change your name legally? You have to be an
probably
adult,
like,
right?
yeah,
So I think you have to. I think if you make it past your childhood, I think you might as well
You're
you're
kind
good.
of stuck.
that, yeah, maybe that's a good point. Probably already
Fair
went through all
enough.
that.
At the end of the day, you absolutely positively have to be conscious of it. I know everyone wants to have a unique baby, but you do have to. You have to say it a couple of times, use it in sentences, play around with it, run it by some other people just so it sounds cool. And
Run
yeah,
it by some random middle schoolers.
run it by some.
If you have some nieces and nephews, just if I name my kid this, how would you clown on them? Get some first person
Well,
feedback. Like
Don't frame it like that.
not yeah, don't frame it like
More
that, but yeah,
abstract.
run a name by kids, and you'll get you. Kids will give you their honest opinion. Absolutely, that is actually not a bad idea. Um, but yeah, there's nothing else. Can move on to the next topic. Okay, let's see. Let's see. So yeah, I remember seeing this post a little while ago. Caption says the U.S. city employees tell a woman her garbage can is too heavy, and they can't pick it up. Otherwise, they might get hurt. And there's a little thing that says garbage men refuse to help mom. Sound like some UK shit. Anyway, so yeah, set the scene. Salute to all the sanitation workers out there. They do the job society, a lot of people in society don't want to do. But apparently, there's a policies. Well, it's the OSHA standards that some cities have, or some are, yeah, some I guess you would say the cities have incorporated. Of there needs to be a maximum weight, or else they can't. They don't want the workers lifting it, which I assume is for safety purposes. Although I thought most cities have the things that lift up the things, but maybe if you have a trash can that's kind of that don't fit the mold of the trash truck can pick up, then the guy has to do it by hand. So in light of that, I guess an alternative would be that the people themselves have to take out their own trash. And somebody got on video an example of just that, where a woman had to do the job because the garbage man refused to do it. Let's look at how that played out.
Do you guys care if I put them in? This is the second week you haven't taken them. They're getting kind of gross. Say that again? Can I dump them in then?
With the baby.
Nah, that's crazy. That's actually wow. A baby crying, yo. That's
Dog, it was multiple ones too. That one ain't even full.
It's too heavy.
This is embarrassing.
Man, we're not sexist on this podcast, or at least we try that to be. But this is definitely one of those like when a woman has to take it by her own hands and do a man's job. So, yeah, you can see in the video. We might play back some of the parts. Like I said, and they said it's in Pittsburgh, so that specifies the location. These sanitation workers were out there, and apparently, the woman walked out and said, "Can you take care of the trash? You guys didn't take it for the last 2 weeks or within the last week or so." And they were like, "Hey, it's too heavy. The rules are the rules." And then they're like, "All right, so then can I do it?" And then, as you can see, the woman proceeds to come out of her crib, put the baby, the literal toddler, on the grass, and take it into her own hands, literally. I don't want to say easily, but clearly lifting up the trash that the garbage man said were too heavy, and proceeding to take out the trash. And this raised a lot of everyone and their mom had an opinion on this. If you try to even begin to scroll down, I'm pretty sure a lot of people were slandering the garbage man for not taking care of the job. All the men out there backing those women handedly tossed it into the truck. You're all lost. No, strike that. You never had a man card. Damn. But someone else they said the cans have a limit for a reason. Follow the rules. But it definitely raised a back and forth about at the end of the day, what's more important? Helping out people, especially like a woman that's literally trying to just take care of her kids, or do you follow the rules of your job above everything? So I guess basically, like, what do y'all make of the situation like this? Do you think the garbage men, the sanitation workers, were out of bounds, and do you think it's wrong that they basically put the rules of their job above helping others like this? And in a sense, does this make men look bad? What do you think, Ghost?
like Rio. I'm sure they have reasons for the weight limit. I'm sure that they have backing if they got a complaint, like they didn't have to do this. It's like, come on, like common sense. Like, she got a baby there. Like, come on, bro. Unless you have the worst back pain in the world and one wrong step and you're gonna get a herniated disc or something, maybe I get it. But it's like, Come
Well, the
on,
company
realistically.
policies are probably for that purpose, so they ensure that their workers never get this gross
Again,
back
like
pain.
technically they have a leg to stand on, but it's like if you're being realistic, like you're being an actual human being, like take the trash. Like it's kind of like I get not picking it up initially if it's over the weight limit, but if she's outside and she's like asking you to do it, it's like just do it. Like what? Just do it. That's really all I gotta say. Just do it. Like come on now. What are we doing here?
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I suppose it is just that simple for a lot of people. I mean, at the end of the day, like when you know, it's one thing to like try to adhere to the policies to the best of your ability, but if worse comes to shove, push comes to shove, and you actually see a Samaritan asking to help you with that when they're dealing with their own life, you might be inclined to help them. So you would say it makes them look bad.
Uh, I'm not like gonna kill him for it, but it kind of makes you look bad. Like it is what it is.
Fair enough, fair enough. What about you, Ace? What do you make of this? Do you think at the end of the day you do got to put the rules of your job above helping others?
Um, kind of like it's not necessarily the rules of the job. It's more so like your safety. So
Yeah, the rules of the job are to prevent accidents for your
yeah,
safety.
but I mean, there might be some rules of your job that's like overkill. Like I'm good. Like I can handle this. Um, so in that way, I'm saying like it's more so your comfort. Your comfort level is another um, indication as well with performing a dangerous task. Um,
I think I actually should. Are you saying like it would make a difference of like it's a rule of the job, and if you do this, you'll get punished, opposed to this is like the policy that you don't have to do something if you don't want to, or something like that.
yeah, what I'm saying is in this particular situation, the rule for the weight limit is to avoid injury. So if if you feel that doing this thing is going to have a very high likelihood of injuring you, um and there's already a rule in place that says you don't have to do it, adhering to that rule does make sense. But and that's what I'm saying, like that's going to be the impetus, or the way that any like worker, I would think, would go about um approaching an unsafe task. Like if it's something that the job already says I'm not supposed to be doing, and I don't feel comfortable doing it, I'm not going to do it. um I'm more likely to do it if I'm still comfortable with it.
Yeah.
um and yeah, like I'm kind of thinking of this in terms of my position I work in the past, where I was working at height. And
You definitely have some dangerous jobs.
yeah, yeah, and there's stuff that I have done that, looking back on it, I'm like, I shouldn't have I shouldn't have even done some of the stuff I've done, and I wouldn't encourage anybody else to do it. Even though like it it would have became an
Wait, did
impediment
somebody ask you
to.
to take down the Christmas lights while you were up on the roof? What are you
No,
talking
no,
about?
no. Getting on the roof, like just getting on the roof itself. Um, the yeah, the danger level that some jobs put you in, without any type of oversight, can be kind of wild. So, yeah, just from that perspective, like it is definitely a consideration. As far as like making sure whatever you're doing as safely as possible, and that you're at your you know somewhat comfortable. Like there's stuff you're gonna do that put you outside that comfort, but um, at least to the point where there's a high probability you're not gonna injure yourself. But this is like it does make them look bad. That the Mainly because the mom came out and did it. Um, like she basically it looks like she proved that there shouldn't really be an issue with it. When you do consider that they are repeatedly lifting,
Yeah, the difference between taking
day
out
in day out.
one or two trash bins opposed to taking out every heavy trash bin that's on the
Yeah,
block.
right, exactly. Um, and you consider that there's still a higher risk of injury for them due to the repetitiveness of the task. Um, like you can still kind of go both ways on it. I think, or at least I can kind of see both sides. Um, but
You know the interesting part,
ultimately, oh, go ahead.
if it do have a rule that if it's too heavy you can't lift it, wouldn't you just implement a rule that, like, have two people lift it?
That's a big one. That's a big one. That's what I was gonna say. Like it is kind of more so on the garbage collecting company to provide the tools or whatever methods to be able um to complete the task, because the trash still needs to be taken out. So um whatever that takes, whether it's outfitting the trucks with the right fork thing to be able to handle the trash cans, or like you said, allocating a third person or whatever to be able to actually get the to lift those heavier trash cans. Like it's it's on the company more so than the workers. um but yeah, it is still like it still looks kind of goofy just from a average person perspective, I think.
So obviously a lot of people would agree with y'all in the sense that it does make them look bad. I don't think this really needs to expand out to men in general. I think people that run with this and say that this is why we need women to run the world because men, no, we don't need that. You're getting too crazy. But if you do subscribe to it, this does make them look bad. What about the thought process? And we kind of touched on the repetitiveness of it. Say like they do say, and we all do agree, it does look a little sad when the moms come out bare feet and they put the kid on the grass and the kid's crying and they gotta lift the trash can and they lift it up easily or relatively easily and they got two big ass grown men that are talking about too heavy. But what if they did decide, okay, you know what? You're right, you got a lot going on. This is our job, we'll do it real quick. They bang it out. And then they go over to the next house or down the street and they come across another trash can that's looking. I also kind of want to ask, how do you think they measure it? Because how do they determine if the trash can is too heavy? Do they like try to lift it? Because if they try to lift it, they could lift it because obviously the woman lifted it, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, but then so they get down the street and then they identify another one and they're like, okay, so let's not do this one. But then the person comes up to the house and say, hey, wait a minute, I just saw you lift up the one for that woman down the street. Why aren't you taking mines? What would you
All
say
you
to
gotta
that?
do is lie and say that yours is heavier than hers.
I guess you could lie and be immoral, but I mean, realistically
Come
speaking, and
on,
like,
now realistically speaking, that's what I would do in that situation because I wouldn't feel like getting wrapped up in a whole discussion about it.
okay, and then a person like me can come on and say, How do you know it's too heavy? Did you measure the trash can? I didn't see you guys pull out a weight. How do you know it's too heavy? And how do you know
And
it's
then
heavier
I
than hers?
and then I make up some BS about I don't know how they even test this. Like I'm guessing like they try to lift it initially, and if they can't use it with X amount of weight approximately, if it's too difficult to move easily, then that's how they gauge it. I
I
don't
mean,
know
what is
how
the
they
metric
do
of
it.
too difficult to move?
I don't know,
I
man.
think they would
Like
have to. I think they would have to have a standard, like if like, because like how on some resumes they would say you have to be able to lift like 50 pounds or something like that. So I
yeah.
would think it's like that if the thing weighs more than a certain amount, but you do have to like test that. So it is kind of a conundrum in that sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they would test or how they would check it, but like honestly, whatever metrics they use, I would say yours is heavier, and next time don't stack it as high or stack it that much. And
I think if you do that, you're putting yourself in a position where you're gonna get in all our arguments with a lot of civilians wanting you to take out their trash.
I don't care, bro. I'm already taking out trash. I got nothing to lose, bro. Like I'll
First of
ignore you.
all,
You can report me, like,
salute
bro.
to
I'm
all, and you definitely got something to lose. Salute to all the sanitation workers. That's a good ass job. Don't let no one tell you otherwise.
yep.
What about you, Ace? Do you think there's a what would you say to that conundrum or that position? Or if you do it for one, then you gotta do it for everyone. stumped them.
Yeah, I would. It would just come down to I'm not doing it, and we would move on. Like the person would be yelling. Maybe they'd still be yelling as we pull away, but yeah, it would just move on. Like I'm not wasting time.
What if they take some of the rotten eggs out of the trash can and throw it at the truck?
Yeah.
I'm getting out of the truck and we backing that shit up, and I'm taking some trash out the truck and then dumping it on your front.
All right, now you guessing. Now you trying to be fighting with the person over the trash. Give me trash flying all over the place.
Realistically, I'm driving off fast enough that they wouldn't be able to get those rotten eggs out. And next time,
Them trash trucks don't go too fast, or they
I
shouldn't be
wouldn't
going
care
too
about
fast.
no rotten eggs on the trash truck.
I'm just okay. A rotten tomato or
truck
something.
in South, I don't care. But next week, I just won't pick up their trash, and I'll say that it's too heavy again.
Man, that's why I always say you gotta respect sanitation workers, because let one of them be spiteful, and next thing you know, your trash is piling up for a few weeks.
You're screwed.
But yeah. Even though it's super unfortunate and it makes those guys look bad, and that even brings up a conversation about like this is like just the video of the not even week of the day of some internet like conversation about something that was caught on camera. It's like somebody can probably identify those brothers, and now those guys. Hey man, I was on. I guess people from the hood ain't on Reddit, but hey man, I was on the gram the other day, and was this you that didn't help this lady with her trash? And now you're an internet persona of sorts.
You know what would be a crazy plot twist is if the city doesn't actually have a limit and they were just lazy.
Hey man, to be honest, yeah, this type of thing could make its way to like the city council, but then the city would fight back and say, hey, we're trying to protect our workers. So I don't know. It's ever going back and forth. And honestly, while you were talking about alternative solutions, Ace, I was thinking. Somebody's gonna make a case. Well, if we really want to protect the employees, why don't we just bring in androids to do the job? Could that be?
Shout out Tesla.
Next thing you know,
So they dumped the android screws up against the trash on your front yard. I don't know.
well, I think by the time we have androids that can take out trash, I think they'll be able to do it sufficiently to the point with little to no error. And then they try to implement that in every city. And next thing you know, we have X amount of workers that are out of work. Ew. Anyway, depressing potential future aside, I guess it's one of those things where if you can, you try to do your best to help out others, especially others that are literally in need until they don't have to put their babies on the ground. But, you still try to abide by your policy to the best of your ability. And always hope that you're not being put on camera so you warned about the internet. That's definitely the moral story. But there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. I'll do the next topic.
How much more of these we have?
It's the last one.
I think one or two. No.
No, looks like we got three potentially.
Right? Either you're missing one or I'm missing one.
Did I skip one?
I think so.
Oh, I was pulling from the drive.
Well, if you're looking in the drive, there's definitely the doc.
Oh, I did miss one. I don't know how I missed it. Shut the gun.
Almost at 2 hours. We're not doing too bad on time. So, in case you haven't heard, viral. McDonald's reveals new employee uniforms, and the internet has mixed opinions. So, in the near future, you stop at your local McDonald's. When I say local, the one every, third block. Jeans, joggers, bucket hats, beanies, and bandanas are among the garments McDonald's staff will be allowed to wear as a part of the new uniform trial. The fast food chain said it's launching its new inclusive uniform to allow employees to wear clothing they feel most comfortable in and best reflects their own identity. Yeah, basically a lot of buzzwords these days. And if you can see the picture, if you're a visual listener, anyway, some examples are people that I don't know if you're just walking down the street, you probably can't even tell that they work at McDonald's. I mean, maybe a red shirt is kind of a giveaway that they work somewhere. Is wearing a red shirt a sign that the person works somewhere? Anyway, so as this thing describes, they're trying to implement a new system where people can have a more casual uniform while they're working at McDonald's. And yeah, I mean, casual definitely fits the description. Again, if you're looking at these people, they don't look like they work at McDonald's, especially this last individual. I don't even see a M anywhere on this thing. I don't see any.
No, I think it's on the sleeve, the end of the yeah, right there.
We got to zoom in hands. But yeah, yes. While some of the uniforming is a bit more conspicuous, I suppose the conversation that you could have is like, when you go into McDonald's or when you go take things outside McDonald's, when you go inside a store, you want to be able to easily identify the employees there. Another relatively trademark thing that comes to mind is when you're in Target, the people wearing the red shirt, you can easily tell, hey, you work here. Can you point me to the direction of the organic chocolate covered pretzels? Whatever you desire. So whatever they took out of the system, what if they said you can literally go on you can literally wherever you want at Target? Would you find it to be an issue? Or do you think people that do work in these type of service retail industries should be allowed to wear whatever they want? It's not like they're like the military. Why should they have to wear a whole uniform? What do you think, Ghost? Do you think the casual uniforms, if that's even a thing, are cool or kosher, or do you think that you would like to see employees in some type of uniform?
As long as there's some type of identifier that shows you work at the place and you're not like super unprofessional, I do not care what any worker wears. I don't think anyone else should care either. People already talk shit about fast food workers and retail workers saying, "Oh, they're lazy, they're stupid, they don't know what they're doing." So if that's the case, then why do you have an issue with them wearing casual clothing? Because they're that useless regardless. This is not my stance, by the way, but people that are getting bent out of shape about this it's stupid. Let them wear whatever they want as long as there's some type of way to tell that they work there. That's literally all that matters.
I mean, you say as long as it's super identifiable, and you also say as long as it's not unprofessional. But
what I say, I mean, like you're showing too much skin or something like that.
Okay, so that's your perception of super unprofessional. But some of these things are still subjective. What is super identifiable? I don't want to keep going back to this, but are these people super identifiable if they work at McDonald's?
Whatever. Honestly, if you're behind the counter at a McDonald's, then that's
okay. So enough. What if it's a retail store and they're wearing casual clothes?
Wear a name tag, a pin, or some type of hat. I don't know.
The lanyard usually is a dead giveaway.
Yeah, lanyard is fine. Whatever the store wants to implement, I don't care. But as long as there's something you can look at, see, oh, this person works there, and it's consistent. That's all that matters.
You're right, but I think it would matter what it is, because again, if it's if it literally isn't something that is out of the norm, then
we're being realistic here. Like, we're not gonna have belt buckles or something crazy.
I mean, that is the point of a uniform, or part of the uniform, so you can identify with the company. If you're saying as long as it's easily identifiable, but what's identifiable to you may not be identifiable to somebody else.
Identifiable to anyone with common sense. It could be a vest, it could be a hat, it doesn't matter.
So you are putting some rules and regulations on it. It should be something like the vest or hat or something that you can identify like that.
Some type of identifiable item, yes, that does not apply to the entirety of what you're wearing.
I just think if you play loosey-goosey rules like you're expressing, then people get crazy.
How is it loosey-goosey?
Because you're saying as long as it's identified with somebody with common sense, but that still doesn't really get you to where you might need to be for everybody.
There needs to be one common item that is easily identifiable. Beyond that common item, you can wear whatever you want. I don't see how that's like
I'm not
that's
stuck. I'm
very
not
easy
stuck.
to implement.
I'm not stuck on the what you're looking for. As long as it's one thing, I'm stuck on the what's identifiable.
We just talked about like five different things. I don't care about the identifiable. Like there's kind of standards of what is generally identifiable.
I
But
maybe we're talking past each other, but like at the
if you go into any random store and you're looking for an employee, what do you look for? You look for someone with either a walkie or a
I'll be
name
honest.
tag or a lanyard.
I go based off the actions of it. I go based off who's stocking or who's like look like they're working. Because if you because sometimes, and I'm gonna be honest, back in the day when I was working in these type of stores, there are some times where like if it's kind of later in the shift, I'm taking off parts of my uniform, rocking what I want. And the only way you'll be able to tell that I'm working there is if I'm like bringing out equipment or supplies or stuff like that. Or if you see my walkie-talkie, which
And it's
is
store policy
if my
not to take.
walkie-talkie is on like the bottom, it's like the right side of my thing, and it's kind of like tucked away. You might not even see that.
So it's store policy not to take off your specific identifiable item, but beyond that, like I'm not making any
Well,
rules.
if the store policy was where you can wear whatever you want and it can be casual, then that's already would be lost.
No, it wouldn't be because even if you're wearing casual clothing, you still have that identifiable item. That one item is the only thing that needs to be consistent. Everything else is on the table.
I'll be honest. I'm not. It's not
How
it
is
at
this a
all.
crazy concept, bro? If you have a lanyard, it doesn't matter if you wear a sweatshirt with it or a
The thing is,
t-shirt. You have the
I
lanyard.
kind of agree with the lanyard thing, but you're not saying it needs to be a lanyard. You're saying it can be
Why
any
are you hung? Why are
any
you hung up on the item? The item is the least
because
important
not
part.
all items are equally identifiable. And I don't know why you seem to not be able to understand this. Not everything's identifiable. A pin that's right here that says the company name might be identifiable to you, but it might not be identifiable to another person. So it's not necessarily all inclusive and identifiable.
I don't understand. If you walk into a store and
Well, if you're asking me, I
you
literally
see
just already
someone with a
I've
pin
already
of
just
the
told
store
you.
logo on it, how is that not identifiable?
Because you are assuming that somebody can easily see and determine a pin.
Then wear a vest. I don't. The identifiable item is the least important part of this to me, as long as it's something that's standard.
I mean, this is why we have more than two people
But
because we can
this is
because we can.
unrelated to the uniform thing. This is not to me. This is completely separate. Like
No, it's right. It's right in line with what we're talking about. But yeah, maybe I'll even tend to believe that maybe I'm the one speaking, so maybe you can weigh in on this, Ace. Um, yeah, when it comes to with this conversation of something being identifiable, does it make sense that like something that's identifiable to one person might not be it to another person? So it's almost better if it is a full on uniform, or am I tweaking?
I don't know. I think that makes sense. That you would want it. Well, the thing I mean, the problem I have with these is just the M is too small. Like if they made the M bigger, then I'd be perfectly good with um whatever form that the quote unquote uniform comes in. But yeah, I think really the main point of a uniform is to be able for customers to know who's an employee and identify an employee, even though it's with McDonald's maybe that's not as critical since the employees are mostly behind the desk or behind the cash registers or whatever in the kitchen, but still, I mean, I think that's still probably the main point of any
Yeah,
uniform.
this is
And
something
then
that's more applicable for like a retail store, where it's like a large store, and it's like think of it like in a Walmart or a Target. If everyone would
yeah,
walk around
exactly.
in plain clothes, how would you? What do you go for if you need help?
Yeah, exactly. Um, And then what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and the other point. Oh yeah, the other point of the uniform is just like if it if you're doing a job that uh has some requirements, like some safety requirements or something, um that dictate what you need to wear. Like that's part of the uniform as well. But again, that's not as critical, I think, in most retail or fast food or anything like that. I mean, besides in the back, the cooks. But yeah. So if the number one thing is being able to identify who's an employee and who's not, I think whatever form of clothing you allow the employees to wear, it should have like a logo or something big, like very easily seen.
I mean,
Okay, the, we know
that
who's
would
who.
that would make it a uniform then, because you're not probably gonna have a casual. You're probably not gonna have your own T-shirt that has a big McDonald's logo on it, or a big Burger King logo on it, or a big
Yeah,
Walmart
yeah,
logo on it.
yeah. I mean, I don't care if it's. I don't care. I
You
don't
don't care
care if
what
it's a
form the
nice
uniform
uniform.
takes,
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
long as it. Okay, so going back to the quote unquote professional aspect of it, it can be PJs
Um,
and
I think
sandals and slides.
yeah, it should be anything that still allows the person to be able to perform their task well. I mean, obviously the company should think about the ramifications of customer um like the customer's impression of the company based on what the employee is wearing. So if you got your customers I mean if you have your employees
Employees.
dressing crazy and your customers are clowning them or they don't have a good opinion of the establishment anymore because of what they're wearing, it doesn't really matter how I don't know inclusive you're trying to be or whatever. If you're not making money, you got to change it. So that's that's gonna be the bottom line regardless.
Would you stop supporting a business if the uniforms are a bit unprofessional?
Um, Probably. I mean, the only thing I
Seriously?
can think of is if it was too revealing.
Yeah, the
But I
revealing
don't
thing.
think
I
a
think
company
we. I
does that.
think unanimously people would. Although, what
Yeah.
about Hooters? Isn't Hooters always in business?
Yeah, Hooters is a place I'm not gonna go. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
that's a great example.
Hey man, it's selling. Although I think there were some Hooters that closed down. Because that in this day and age, that type of marketing isn't. You can get that on the internet. Um, yeah. I don't know. Maybe there was still some like miscommunication, but I think ultimately we're on the similar page. If the customer can identify it, though, I think we're gravy. And I think there is some level of threshold for like what's acceptable in a place of business, quote unquote. Yeah, ultimately, I don't know. A lot of times when companies will dole out these type of policies or like allowing their employees to do X, Y, Z, I think some people look at that like as like companies just trying to do the bare minimum when if they really want to really impress their employees, they would just pay them more. But I think this type of thing can go a long way. Especially, I don't know what the uniform of McDonald's before, but I don't know if you have to wear some uh like stiff like shirt, buttoned up shirt, and now you can just wear a nice kind of comfy T-shirt and jeans. Even though I think jeans are uncomfortable. I think a lot of people would go with that. And if it's depending on the time of day or the time of year, you might not want to wear whatever cap to give you. You might want to wear a beanie or a bucket. So I think that's dope too. So yeah, I think for a lot of retail and service establishments, more casual but still easily identifiable is definitely the wave, or could be the wave. At the end of the day, at Target, I think they all have to wear red. And if you go to Target wearing a red shirt, you're just asking for trouble.
Red with the khakis.
The khaki is kind of overdoing it, but I guess that is the model, isn't it? But if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. Yes. Salute to Lupe. Still, to this day, I would say my uh number one greatest rapper of all time on my list, at least. So a lot of conversations has been happening in the world of hip hop since the well, I don't know when you would say it started, but since the great rap war of 2024 started with Drake and Kendrick and kind of J. Cole and Rick Ross and Kanye for some reason, and we didn't even last week we didn't even talk about everything else happening. Like City Girls was beefing for a bit, and there's also Quavo versus Chris Brown, and like everybody just kind of get in the mix. It's very like back in the day. Like even though it sucks because it's beef, this is one of the most interesting times in hip hop there's been in a while. And a part of what makes things so interesting is not necessarily just what people are saying on their verses. It's like a lot of the conversations that come surround what's happening. There's been a lot of if you like listening to podcasts as much as I do, this is a great time because everybody, including our podcast, a lot of podcasts we did last week was super dope. Even though from a logistical standpoint, it's not very something we can do very often. But yeah, a lot of great conversations. And this is kind of low key. I'm surprised I even bumped into this, even though I do follow Lupe. There's been some conversations regarding Kendrick and his methods when it comes to hip hop, and I think this is it involves a lot more than this. But this particular clip that Lupe reposted from a larger conversation that they were doing on Twitter Live or X Live or whatever you call it. He goes into like I said, many things, but this particular part that I wanted to cover was regarding how you could classify a really great rapper, like a top 5, top 10 of all time, and like also kind of what goes into like a good back and forth, or what goes into a good hip hop artist. And I think this was really super dope to hear. Not dope per se, but interesting to hear because I mean you're talking about a top tier lyricist like Lupe and his perspective on it. And I'm kind of curious to know what y'all think and if y'all agree, disagree, and maybe we can kind of get close to that that real question of who exactly is the best. So like I said, this is a part of a larger conversation. I think even this video is a part of a larger conversation. But the part I wanted to really listen in on starts at 2 minutes and 14 seconds, I believe. So play that.
Two moments happened with me and Doc. Two
I'll tell you
moments.
when to
One is the control
stop
shit.
it.
The other one is niggas is like, hey, do you think Kendrick is a top tier dude? I'm like, I think he's a great performer. I think he's a great rapper. I think he makes great albums. I think he's a great conceptualist. I think he's a great mind. I think what he does for the culture is amazing. Like, I love him to death. I do not think that he's like this amazing lyricist, though. And if I had to put a top 100 of lists together,
you not finna say that. You not finna say.
Wow. Lupe. Stop. I ain't even see y'all doing that.
Kendrick not making your top 100, man.
You hear what Verb just said? Now, letter, did I say that?
Part of stuff, Lupe. Finish your food, my nigga. Finish your food.
I just want to go on the record. Did I say that?
Nah, you good.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. We're asking. Yeah.
But you just made a statement.
No. But I asked first. I said, "Is that what you're saying?"
I was finna say it before you cut me off.
Oh, damn. Okay, go ahead. Your floor is yours. Go ahead.
Pause real quick.
So if it was a list of like top hundreds,
who's done this? So reminiscent of how some of our conversations go. Did you say that? Did you say that? Well, did I say it? Sorry. Go ahead, Sandy.
Like if I had a top 100 list, the first 60 slots would be niggas that ain't in the mainstream that niggas don't even know. Or if they know them, they don't know them. Like it ain't finna be niggas with record deals. It's finna be niggas like you. And that's not a shot. That's not to put you down. It's not. I'm not doing no rap shit. I'm not
Nah,
collecting.
salute. That's good. That's amazing.
It's gonna be all these battle rap niggas from all these leagues all over the world. When it comes to lyrics, right?
Okay.
It's finna be niggas who put out one record back in '92. It's finna be Killer Scene, right? It's finna be Beretta.
Wow.
It's finna be Puerto Rican terrorists. It's finna be the niggas who's like, y'all don't even know who the fuck I'm
My
talking
nigga
about.
Killer says from Wu-Tang Clan. Sons of Man. Keep going. Finish your food.
Right? But if I said that statement,
Right.
oh, Killer Sin in my top,
I got you.
what niggas gonna
Finish
say?
your food.
You see,
Wu-Tang.
niggas ain't gonna talk
American Cream Team. I got you.
So I don't have a list at all. I don't have a list.
Do you have?
So, I don't know. Does that inherently sound shocking to anybody? That when it comes to like some of the greatest of all time, somebody might not put somebody like a Kendrick in there. And actually, now I'm listening back. I think there was actually another part in this I wanted to play. This might suck, but I might have to play it from the beginning because I thought there was a part where he mentioned like the elements in this that he puts into what makes like that top tier. Play from the beginning, but hold on to that thought of like the idea of not putting a person like Kendrick in that top one.
No producers, and I remember this. The reason me and you talking right now agrees with each other. I swear to God, I ain't even heard the diss records at all.
Wow.
I ain't even heard them to this day.
Wow, though. What's the reason behind that, though?
Because I got a regular job.
Nah, man, you said you heard that
No,
shit earlier.
I heard Drake shit and I heard Ross shit.
But not Kendrick shit.
Oh yeah. Right.
I ain't heard
Kendrick ain't got nothing else.
J. Cole shit.
Oh, okay. Well, J. Cole said sorry. He
No, I ain't even listen to I ain't listen to the record. The Might Delete Later shit. I ain't even heard that shit. And I ain't even hear the apology. Only thing I hear is what you see on social media. You see like a little clip or something, or you'll see like the lyrics on like a meme or some shit like that. I ain't listen to the shit. I ain't got no opinion on the shit. I've learned not to even have an opinion on anything dude do. Not because I don't fuck with dude. I love dude.
Talking about Kendrick.
It's just I know that niggas is looking for a reason. The same with that tribe shit. To like, oh, let's tear it. Here's another way to tear this nigga Lupe down for whatever reason. For my own little flaws and faults. Or just a nigga feel a certain way. Cause I fucked they bitch or did something silly and don't know. Right? I don't know. To this day. So when I mentioned to you, Verb, I got a history. Like niggas ain't helped me with shit, bro. Like it's niggas who still tear my shit down to this day. Unbook me for concerts, all kinds of shit. Fuck shit. But cool.
Who's the one booking Kendrick?
I think that's a part of this though.
What you say?
Sorry, now who was on booking Lupe for concerts over some old stuff? That ain't fair. Sorry.
When you sign up for the shit, it's like it's gonna happen.
I'm Gucci.
Like, it ain't nothing everybody.
I'm Gucci. I just didn't expect it to be the same shit like the street. The street's better than this. The street, this shit don't even happen. At least you're a murker motherfucker. At least murk me and put me on my misery.
It's rules in the street. It's more rules and respect. Right. It is.
So
this is more
dirty bullshit, right? And then you can't whack a nigga, right? Because you finna it ain't worth it, right? Exactly. So only reason me and you even talking about this shit, Complex Magazine, right? They go.
We talk about it because you said
Hold on. Be clear. Let's be clear. I'm not ducking shit. We just talking casually before the storm, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think it gets much more deep in that. But yeah, I thought I must be listening to something. Maybe I was listening to the entire thing, and there was something mentioned of like what they actually, the elements that they actually ascribe to like what makes you the greatest. Because I think they said something to the effect of like the lyrics, and being able to convey a message, and a story, and putting a lot of wit into it. I guess part of me, more so than trying to rehash every element of what you think of some of these back and forth responses and who do you think is better and all that, this and that. What do you think of that take about like potentially not putting someone like Kendrick's level in a top 100 because you think it's best suited for like the super unknown guys that you just know are just the like they just do something that nobody else can do. Because I would think a part of a top five, if we're looking at every single, not top five, but a top 100, looking at every aspect, you do have to look at their impact. We look at a bunch of artists that, while they're not like the super most craziest from a lyrical perspective, or like we know there are artists that are better for them, we do put them highly because they were able to make really culturally relevant songs, or even songs that we just thoroughly enjoy. I would think that, but I don't know. Maybe even though we have multiple conversations about hip hop and records, maybe I might be uninformed about you guys' opinion on this. So yeah, what do y'all make of Lupe's take? And again, what do you think about potentially not putting someone on Kendrick's level in the top 100? What do you think, guys?
I'm not surprised by Lupe's take at all, and generally, I think it makes sense to me. Um, like if your list is, or if the list you're talking about in particular is a top 100 lyricist purely without any other considerations, then I'm not surprised at all that for Lupe, Kendrick would be in the low 60s or whatever, because um like he said battle rappers are probably going to make up the majority of that top portion of the list. And I know when I dabbled into getting into battle rap, it was kind of mind blowing how like consistently um consistently battle rappers are able to say the most just incredibly complex stuff, come up with the craziest schemes, all the multi entendres, like all the stuff that they're able to do just back to back, round after round. Um,
You would say in general,
it's
battle rappers are more lyrical than regular rappers?
I would, I would, I would, and I don't think that's, I don't think it's like very difficult to back up. Just because just the sheer amount of great content you can find if you look up, if you just look up battle, like recent, um, or not even recent, just battle rap
Just battle rap. If you look up the average battle rap, you'll probably find a high level of lyricism.
Yeah, yeah, and you said it, the average battle rap. Um, so yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. And but yeah, if you the
And you would
minute
say
you
someone
start,
at Kendrick's level isn't like top lyricist of all time?
I mean, I think he would struggle going up against the average battle rapper. Like,
Jesus, sound like Lupe.
um, but again, like the minute you incorporate almost anything outside of lyricism, Kendrick immediately starts to shoot up. Like when you battle rappers usually don't have any type of but like they're not rhyming on a beat, for example. Kendrick obviously rhymes on a beat. So what he's doing automatically becomes more um like consumable or approachable for just the mainstream audience because of that. And then you incorporate his ability to his storytelling over the course of an album, and um just how visceral his lyrics can be in general. Like again, you're starting to push him up higher and higher.
Hmm.
But it truly depends on what your list is, what your
Focusing on.
list qualifications
Yeah.
are that will dictate who is up at the top of that list. If you talk about, well, yeah, if you talk about who's the most monetarily successful, is gonna jump up and down in terms of who's up there. Like, and they may not be they're almost certainly not going to be the most lyrical people. So that's really,
I mean,
I think, what it comes down
for a
to.
while it was Jay Z, and Jay Z's a top, is pretty high up there when it comes to lyrics. Eminem is actually probably still up there on some metric of like highest selling.
That's true. That's true.
Um, What about yourself, Ghost? What do you think of the conversation of, depending on how you look at it, you wouldn't put Kendrick in a top 100 or top however spot or something on Kendrick's level. You agree with that
Uh,
sentiment?
I mean, for what you didn't hear Lupe's specific criteria, but I'm assuming he mentioned battle rap, so I'm assuming he's looking more at punchline oriented and a hard hitting bars like that. It, top 100 is just that's
It's a lot of
saying
names.
Kendrick is not top 100 is false, like objectively false. If
Oh
you want
my
to say
god.
if you want to say that there's a 60 better battle rappers, 60 better lyricists that are better at one certain aspect, like punchlines and Kendrick, stuff like that. That's fine. I mean, I, I think what I have a problem with is I think that Lupe's criteria, and again, it sounds like he's just looking at it strictly from battle rap or something like that. We don't have the full context, so it's kind of hard to say, but it's really stupid to limit the criteria to that because even if we don't talk about anything like Ace is going on to anything about like how to write a beat, how to conceptually put together an album, nothing about that, just pure lyrics.
How to tell a story.
Not even looking at flow, just pure lyrics. Kendrick is without a doubt in my mind top 20 at least. That's being conservative, without a doubt. I'll say for today. I won't say all time, but top 20 today without no question. And having some super specific criteria, like when we talk about rap, when we talk about hip hop, like we all know what lyricism means, right? Like
Yeah.
we know when we're listening to hip hop lyrics, like the goal and we want sure like the battle rap when you listen to battle rap compilations and they say some crazy shit and quadruple entendre, that's cool. Like I'm not denying that. I'm not saying that Kendrick can go toe to toe with any battle rapper and outdo them. I'm not saying that. But like that's one small aspect of lyricism, and I'm not even talking about rap, just pure lyricism. I'm just talking about lyricism. That's one small part of it. And when you look at lyricism as a whole, conceptually, like I don't think there's you can't put 60 dudes. That's like to go into a quick sports analogy. That's like we all anyone who follows basketball blah, 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 knows that Steph Curry is the best shooter ever.
Yep.
That's like saying I can like if I went on 20 different open courts around the world or 200 different open courts around the world, I could find 50 dudes that can shoot better than Steph off the dribble on the left wing doing a step back. Like I'm sure that there's some aspects of shooting that Steph Curry isn't the absolute best at, and you could find better shooters than him in that regard. But when it just comes to shooting, not even being a basketball player, just shooting, like we know what his reputation
The
is. We
crazy
know
part
what
is,
he can do.
some of these sports analysts be doing that though.
They do, but it's like when Lupe is going on this tangent, I really think it's super ridiculous because like how if you look at Kendrick's body of work, how can you not say that if a whole lot of these battle rappers like if you look at it's like a battle rapper highlights, I've dabbled in it. I'm not really super into it, but you'll see like some crazy hard hitting lines and that are super impressive. How consistently are they doing that on track to or battle to battle, day to day? Yeah, like maybe you'll get 1 10 out of 10 bar for every 20 different battles he does, and a lot of the shit is like it's kind of recycled. It's derivative. You kind of know where it's going. Like it's not original. That's not to say it's not impressive,
Especially if you
but
know the battle rapper. Right.
Exactly. Yeah, you kind of get a feel for okay, this he's gonna go in this direction. He's gonna say this. He might not say it the same exact way he said it before in a different video or a different battle he did. He put a little twist on it, but you kind of know what's coming. And if you uh, took some random off the street and said you gave him five different battle rappers to listen to, and you ask them to distinguish one from the other, it's going to be kind of difficult because they a lot of them have the same cadence, the same content. It's kind of repeating, and my goal here isn't to diminish them, diminish that art, but it's completely different than put together an actual album, conceptual album that flows into itself, that has hooks, that has storytelling, that has a whole lot. It's not just uh, 16 bars and that's it. Like it's a full song. Like that's that's a whole nother realm. That if you gave Kendrick, if you put plot Kendrick into a battle rap, he could hold his own. I'm sure you get smoked by a lot of dudes. Do you think 60 of these dudes can put together just purely lyrically put together write an album? Like no.
Facts.
But I think you have to consider the context of the conversation. The reason that this is coming up is because Kendrick, or yeah, Kendrick, Drake, and Cole are doing something that puts them more into the converse, or more into the context of quote unquote battle rap, and pure having lyric good lyricism purely from a lyricism standpoint, not necessarily, not so much talking about who's the greatest artist, who's the greatest rapper that ever did it. It's they're putting themselves in a more battle rap adjacent conversation um by competing d- in this beef. So I think it becomes legitimate to start talking about, well, yeah, that Kendrick is great, but if we're talking about the greatest lyricist ever, he's not gonna be up in Lupe's top 60. And I think also when you consider that number 60, you said 20. I definitely don't doubt Lupe has um a much more in-depth knowledge of rap history than I do, certainly. I mean, he's a professor apparently of it.
Yeah.
Um so that number might be inflated just because he's more knowledgeable on it, the history of rap in general, and the great lyricists um that have come up, and nobody knows about them, but they were still, if you go back and listen to them, stuff they were doing is incredible. So
A couple
um
points and
Well,
questions off what you're saying though. If you even if you do look at it in the context of like, rappers are kind of going back and forth, so we're kind of talking about it kind of being adjacent to battle rap and some of the elements that make battle rap so great. We wouldn't say when it comes to just two rappers going back and forth. It's not literally just like who is the most lyrical. It also is like how they go about their response record and the production on it, I would assume to a certain degree, and what they can say. I mean, if you literally just get on a song and for 3 to 5 minutes you rap a great song, and then somewhere along the line you say, "And this is why I'm the best. It's why I'm better than you." But the other guy, he raps at a decent level too, but he's also kind of attacking the person's character. Are we just gonna max to the guys that was lyrically better? Is the better the guy that won here?
I don't know how that vote goes.
but here's
uh
the thing too. Like it's not like they got on tracks and were just in a strictly battle rap format. Like these were actual regular rap songs that happened to be dissing the other dudes. So like Lupe didn't say that there's 100 better battle rappers than Kendrick. Lyricists and like I feel like it's kind of a
Well,
pretty
Kendrick's not a
big
battle
leap.
rapper, so he wouldn't be in that list anyway.
Yeah, but I think it's a pretty big leap to just jump because Kendrick in like that some shots at Drake. Now that automatically puts him in the realm of battle rap, and then that in that classifies all battle rap in a certain lyrical light, and like I don't agree with that. I don't think that's
They're participating in a beef. Like
beef
it's
and bro.
competition.
Beef and battle rap is completely. It's I don't want to say it's completely different, but it's
It's not
not the
completely
same.
different.
It's not the same.
It doesn't
It's
have to be the same in order for this conversation to arise of who's the greatest lyricist. I'm sure people are going around now talking about who's the best lyricist ever. And Lupe is just saying, in his opinion, Kendrick is not up there. Kendrick is not top 50.
But it feels like that opinion is only that top 50 is only triggered when you include battle rap and you talk specifically about lyricism in a battle rap type of light. Where if Kendrick never did this, then it would kind of be irrelevant.
Okay, I kind of see what you're
Actually, yeah,
saying.
now
So
that you say it like that, I see what we're talking about.
if there was no battle and Kendrick just dropped a extremely quote unquote, lyrically and impressive track and people started, were saying he's the best lyricist, you don't think Lupe would have the grounds to say there's 50 better or 60 better
Yeah,
rappers than
like
him because you can't include battle rappers?
it'd be kind of just an irrelevant conversation. It's like if he was talking about like the 100 best lyricists of all time, and we start including um, R&B lyricists and folk lyricists, like it's complete. It's not that far distinct because again, battle rap and rap are somewhat adjacent, but
Yeah,
it's still like to me a different conversation, and it just feels like a weird comparison like that's what your classification is gonna be is battle rappers is I don't that just it feels weird.
I think like you're saying, some of this conversation gets brought up because there is currently like a back and forth, a battle going on, so to speak. So then we kind of start to get into like, well, if we're gonna talk about who's the best at kind of doing this, so we're gonna get to battle rappers, and we know that battle rappers are really impressive at being lyrical and being able to go back and forth. But then when we just talk, but we don't. That doesn't in turn make them automatically considered to be the best lyricists just because we're talking about lyricists in context of battles, or that's where it starts from. Um,
Yeah.
I was gonna say one other thing about this. Kind of slipped my mind. Yeah, it definitely is something that if you're at the level of Lupe, it's not completely unfounded. And like you were saying, they probably if they're in mind, and that's why you always have to be careful when you say the top 100 list, the top 20 list, because like if someone literally asks you to sit down and write out however many artists before you get to this artist, you find that a lot of people can't do this. But I'm not saying that Lupe can't do it. I'm just saying
My money is on Lupe can do it though.
I'm not
Yeah,
saying you can't. I'm just saying I'm
probably
outside
could.
of Lupe. I'm saying a lot of people couldn't do that. You get to 10 or 15, and then like and you can look
Now
at
you
it.
don't even know 100
Yeah, exactly.
100 rappers.
Nah, you're struggling. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, one other quick point I was thinking about is like, as much as I consume battle rap, even my takeaway from it is just like, battle rap is kind of like almost designed to where you want to say something so witty and hit that punchline to make the audience react. To where like when you're putting out songs and records, like obviously you want a good reaction, but you want that entire song to resonate, to hit hard with people, from start to finish. So it's
Yeah, like
almost
if
go ahead.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just gonna say like to your point, if you're not watching a video of someone actively dissing the other person in a battle rap, and like you just on Spotify, you're listening to battle rap, like
Do they
that's
have
just
battle
not
raps
gonna
on
hit.
Spotify?
Can you imagine
That'd be
that? Like,
funny.
come
But yeah, so I kind of bring that up to this kind of, since there's kind of different objectives. It's kind of, again, we can definitely have the conversation and bring battle rappers into it. But if we're trying to have the whole cohesive conversation, yeah, I'd be hard pressed. I'm more silent with Ghost. I don't think you can just automatically start putting battle rappers way above the lyrical rappers that we all kind of agree on for the most part. You know, there's some level of consensus to us that those top tier rappers.
I think I fall the other way. Like for example, my number one favorite rapper, MF Doom. Um, I wouldn't have any problem with somebody making the argument that X so and so battle rapper is better than Doom, and show me like a track or something, or not a track,
dog.
but a
Of
battle
all
that.
people, like Doom could battle rap anyway. I don't care, bro. Like we can talk about.
Yeah, I feel like Doom would excel in that rap. What are you talking about?
Doom of all rap, like the king of the fucking triple entendre. Come on, now,
Yeah,
like,
well, that's a very interesting thing to say. King would, I'm sorry, MF Doom would absolutely excel and do well in that type of field.
He could do well, but I'm just saying, would he
bro. There's
be
no.
the best?
I'm not talking about battle. Like you can't put battle rappers lyrically on the level of. I don't care how good they are. I'm sorry, but you can't do it. You can't like the track I always bring up, the what was it, my favorite ladies, or
Yeah, my favorite ladies. Yeah.
bro, that song conceptually, start to finish.
That's a very battle rap thing to do.
No
It
battle
is a very battle
over
rap
the
thing
course
to
of
do.
a 3-minute track with a
It's a battle rap thing.
no
to
battle
do.
rapper is over the
We
that
probably could look up
extensive.
we could probably look up something where somebody did exactly that, but no.
Real quick,
I mean, it's not automatic, but I'm just saying.
real quick. Living right now, top 3 lyricists.
Oh
Nobody
my
wants
God!
to do
Real quick.
Nobody, come on.
Real quick.
Absolutely.
Nobody, no.
Real quick.
No.
Real quick.
I don't. Even I love lists, but even I am like, I don't know about that.
Damn, sounds like y'all listen to enough rap. I don't know what to say.
I don't.
Knock it off. I do, but it's just like, because these things
Just throw
these things easily get contentious.
We can no arguments. Throw out 3 names.
I'm gonna troll you. That's what I'm gonna do.
List 3 battle rappers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll dedicate time to that another time. But I think ultimately speaking, I think and again, this is why it's like you gotta take the good and the bad with the life. Like
I could really troll him.
Jesus. Like a lot of people are saying that like some of the beef that's been happening in hip hop is like no good or not really good because we're commercializing people having issues with each other, and people kind of get on their soapbox and start talking. But at the same time, a lot of like, I don't want to say productive, but like entertaining at the very least, conversation can come out of some of these things, and it just kind of continues to expand the culture. Because even though when the fan bases are going back and forth, that's kind of corny. A discussion like this, kind of like this, can be relatively wholesome, and we can kind of like build upon. Hey, maybe you can put me onto this X artist who you think is, that a quote unquote representation of what a top tier lyricist, and then I can get into them and I can spread their name. So outcomes like that, I think is really beneficial.
How do you put someone onto a battle rapper? Because you can't tell them to listen to an album. Is it just a YouTube compilation?
Yeah, you gotta send them a battle.
Come on, bro.
You just better hope their battles are not paywalls.
Skip to this timestamp and that timestamp and then that.
No, just watch the whole battle. Like, I mean,
But
the
then
person kind of has to be inclined to.
You don't try to put somebody onto a battle rapper and then or a rapper and then go tell them to go listen to a compilation album. That's not how it works.
It's one battle though. It's like one.
Oh, you're talking about their battle. I thought you were the whole like entire like the match.
Well, you gotta listen to the other person's battle. What if they get confused?
The match.
I'm not gonna get confused, but they might not like the other person.
Well, that's the point, though. I mean, maybe they kind of have to see the other person too.
So I gotta listen to trash to get a. Come on, bro.
I know. I understand what we're trying to articulate, but the way you put somebody onto a battle rapper is drastically different from the way you put somebody onto a regular rapper. It just doesn't. It just doesn't hit. You have to put them onto their greatest hits.
Are you're saying you have to give them a compilation?
Yeah, of just there. Like we don't want to hear the other guys.
Oh. Well, I mean, if the person is already into battle rap, though, then you could probably just give them a.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I for one enjoy a lot of conversation coming around. Well, some of the conversation that come around from hip hop, and I look forward to more of what comes out from this back and forth. And there's also the conversation of like, he's the man of the hour, Kendrick. What are you gonna do?
Kendrick needs to drop.
I'll tell you one thing, Drake, cool it.
Relax, bro.
Drake,
you sound like these Drake fans.
Drake's need.
What do you
Drake
mean now? Like, what do you? Where did this time frame come from?
At a time of recording, has officially released on his record. It's on streaming service. Push Up. He's in a good spot. I would stop going back and forth with everybody else, except if somebody like if J. Cole changed his mind and he came out with what works, then you destroy Cole. But leave Ross alone. Leave everybody else alone. I would maybe throw some more shots at Metro just because it's funny, but leave everybody else alone. Just wait for Kendrick to drop, and when Kendrick drops, then you got your records ready. But if you go ahead,
I was just gonna say that track got better to me over the week too.
Oh, it's your Drake's record?
Heavy riding it, bro. Heavy riding.
It was very good. Like,
come on, bro. Like,
I really got turned from a hater.
this is some top tier glazing right here. Like, come on now.
All right.
It's like
it's too much, bro.
The crazy part. The last thing I'll say on this, I'm just here as an observer right now. Someone made a good post about like how like when you're not a stand. Sorry, I got to sneeze almost. When you're not a stand of anybody, so you're just sitting back and enjoying the content. That's me. Because at first I was rooting for Cole. I was like, Cole's gonna come out this. He's gonna be.
Oh yeah, y'all Cole fans already lost.
I was like, Cole's gonna be the Thanos of this war. He's gonna snap his finger, and we're gonna start to see Kendrick fade away. But obviously that's not the way.
Yeah, he snapped his finger and he faded away. Yeah.
Like it was Drake and Kendrick that collected all the Infinity Stones, and Drake J. Cole has decided, hey, he didn't got the heart for it. So that's his own thing. But yeah, now that the guy I was rooting for is out of it, I'm just sitting back. I don't Drake's up right now, but I still believe Kendrick can still turn the tides of battle. But I think what? Sorry, one last thought. Unless y'all have some other thoughts, I don't want to cut anybody off. One last thought. I thought while Kendrick's quote unquote on a time clock or whatever, if this was back in the day, we would have seen Schoolboy Q and Absol jump out with a couple of funny records of just like some slight, like he's talking about Six God, but why didn't he come to L.A. or they would have been on it. But it's just a reminder that
he got his laying affiliates now.
Good too, and a beef. Yeah, I feel like Absol could do very well.
Which era Absol now?
Oh, I'm talking about like that. I'm talking about the 20.
He'll drop a fireball. He'll drop some.
I'm talking about the 2012, the 2013, even 2014 era Absol. I'm talking about where it was Black Hippie, where they were really clicked up, and whenever you moved on one, you were going to face the rap.
Yeah, and like a pure rap beef, I think Absol probably better than Kendrick.
Man, I would love to see obviously
Kendrick's still going to hold it now.
The thing is, you never want to go too crazy when it's Drake, because Drake can just say like, "Didn't I see you perform at a McDonald's or something like that?" But
man,
I would love
Drake talking, bro.
I would love to see the day or Drake has to say something actually clever and impactful about Absol, because that's the one thing you kind of got on it. Like just like when he was going back and forth with Pushers, like, I mean, yeah, you're saying some pretty cool stuff, but I'm gonna say something that's actually gonna really be effective. But anyway,
This is still like the ultimate ammo against Drake and talking to underage girls. Like that's
okay, all
he
right.
tried to flip it like
I
Eminem.
see I saw a
No,
lot of
I'm
posts
no,
about that too.
no,
We're not
I'm not even
listening.
like
Some of these are
he talked about it
allegations, so we're
himself.
not.
He brought him up himself. He said it himself. So
I don't know what you're referring to specifically. I just we don't want to get to allegation territory. Oops, sorry. Anyway, but if there's nothing else, and there is a lot, of course, to talk about when it comes to hip hop and battle rap, but we're about that time. A little over it, to be honest. Anyway, good stuff. I can't wait to get to editing. Well, I still got a lot of editing to do with some other videos, but before we move on, like we like to do at the end of the podcast, anyone have anything to get off their heart or their chest? I actually don't think there was any super sad news this week, except a little war going on.
just this little war, nothing too serious.
Yeah, there was no earthquake.
My company.
All right, Jesus, nothing too personal.
I was gonna ask out. I'm assuming you didn't get hit.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that, did
You
we?
like that, but
Did we?
What?
we
Playoffs?
talked about a little off air.
What did we like the news podcast? What there's nothing to talk
No,
about
at
when it
my
comes.
company.
I'm assuming you're talking about off the record.
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
we haven't. And no,
Oh,
we're just,
okay.
Oh, you got some crazy story.
No. I just, for some reason, I thought I texted you guys about it.
I was
Don't
gonna
think-
ask you
if we saw you
straight,
taking
right?
if we
Yeah,
saw you
I'm
talking,
not
we'd be like,
working
"Are you straight?"
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm good. There was only one coworker that I know of.
Bro, I'm
Right.
trying to move us away from this,
Why? You said get off your heart, get off your chest, and you shutting me down.
but literally, is he like you get like we don't want it to be too personal.
Yeah,
but go
so
ahead.
just take note. Never open up again.
Yo, what do you mean?
It's not opened up. It's just that like some level of like you don't want the world to know your super personal business. But if you want to, I guess.
Get it off your heart,
That
get off your chest,
personal.
but actually don't really do that. Noted.
Okay, y'all gonna keep making jokes, then I'm gonna. Okay. All right. All right. Let me. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say? You all finished?
No, yeah, it's fine. I mean, my company had layoffs. I didn't get laid off, but all praises. I'm kind of lucky.
Hey, man, that's why they say the ultimate goal is to build a work for yourself. Anyway. And also, like we had to do at the end of the podcast, is there anything that you're looking forward to? Short term, long term? You know what they have to say about having something to look forward to?
Concert next week.
Nice. Who we seeing?
Wisp. Shoegaze artist. New
Gotcha.
shoegaze artist.
Nice. What else?
I'm probably gonna be taking a vacation sometime in the next couple weeks. I have like a month and a half saved up, so I'm probably not going anywhere, but not working would be good enough.
Nice. I'll be going on vacation soon myself, which I'll get more into. I'm gonna get my hair be personal too. For me, crazy. A lot of the stuff I was looking forward to. Like, I don't know. I'm simple. I just look forward to like new content. Is just came out recently. But one thing that's kind of niche. There's currently dang. If I say YCS, no one's gonna know what that means. There's currently a championship or a tournament going on in for the Ego TGZ, and whenever that happens, there's always a lot of the actual tournament itself, but there's always a lot of content that comes out of that. So I'm gonna be trying to watch that tomorrow. But yeah, like I said, I'm simple. I look forward to a good tournament or a good new episode or something dropping. But all the same, nice podcast as always. I thank you guys for coming out here and doing this podcast thing. We thank any and all listeners. especially everybody that for some reason bumps into the videos. It's always interesting to see which one of those pop off, even though I'm starting to know it's a pattern. And I think, now that I mention it, this is in hindsight, but I think I actually should probably do better at saying, if you're listening to this, like, leave a comment and subscribe and all that dumb shit. But
honestly, when I hear that shit, it makes me not want to subscribe or leave a comment. So maybe we're doing it the right way.
you say that, but I think there's literal data to suggest that when you say that, people do it. So,
cheap.
But regardless, if you are subscribed or liking the video or any of that dumb stuff, we hope that you know, by watching our podcast, get new perspective or learn something new. Like the fact if you work at a McDonald's or Burger King and Wendy's in the near future, you might be able to roll up in your slides in a what? Sorry, I was gonna say beater in a tank top. Or we just hope that you find us entertaining. But if none of that happened to you, then all we have to say is be warmed and be filled. Thank you. So stop recording. Oops. Go here.